On the other side, the red-haired Shanks pirate group also started a heated discussion around Yu. The red-haired boss, this guy named Yu actually killed that bastard Jack, let's relieve his anger. The fat man Rikiru said excitedly while chewing a big chicken leg. There are constant conflicts among the four emperors. Rikiru once had a conflict with Drought Jack. Although he defeated Drought Jack, he initially let Drought Jack go due to the unwritten rule of not killing generals among the four emperors. Now, Yu has taken care of Drought Jack for himself, and Rikiru is still very satisfied. That's right, I've long disliked Drought Jack, but I didn't expect that Captain Yu of the Zero Division of the Whitebeard Pirates is still a ruthless character. The core cadre with a monkey on his back said enthusiastically. Team Zero Captain Yu. He is really an amazing person. I really want to meet him. Jesus wiped his sniper rifle and murmured. Beckman came to the red-haired Shanks with a cigarette in his mouth, but looked at Shanks with some serious eyes. Shanks, at this critical moment, if this boy named Yu kills one of the Beast's pirates' big posters, will it cause the Whitebeard pirates to be attacked from both sides? At this time, everyone in the red-haired pirate group thought of the crux of the problem. After killing Drought Jack, how could Kaido of Beasts just give up? Kaido, who has always been a mortal enemy of Whitebeard, will definitely kill Whitebeard at all costs this time. This would have been okay in the past, but now that Marine has captured Ace, a battle between the Whitebeard pirates and Marine headquarters is almost inevitable. It is not a wise move to anger another four emperors at such a critical moment. The red-haired Shanks looked at the sea in the distance, sighed, and spoke slightly. Alas, I warned the Whitebeard pirates before to be careful with Blackbeard and not to pursue him rashly, but they didn't listen. So Ace was defeated by Blackbeard and handed over to Marine. Now the whole sea is in trouble. In a weird atmosphere. I originally thought that the Ace incident would make the Whitebeard pirates sober up, but who knew that a character like Yu would appear again this time, and he would actually anger the Beast pirates. Now, the situation of the Whitebeard pirates may be even more dangerous than before. Beckman slowly blew out a smoke ring. Boss, do you think we have to secretly help the Whitebeard pirates? The red-haired Shanks looked helpless. The Whitebeard pirates are so big-hearted. Now we have to take action. Red-haired Shanks said, shaking his head. Whitebeard on Moby Dick, almost at the same time as red-haired Shanks, received news about Night Feather's beheading of Drought Jack. Everyone in the Whitebeard pirates gathered around the newspaper. Each one of them widened their eyes with shocked expressions. Drought Jack, was beheaded by Yu? Marco said in disbelief. Foil Bista nodded in agreement. This is a newspaper published by the World Economic News Agency, it can't be wrong. I didn't expect that Yu looked so harmless, but his attack was so cruel, he was beheaded. Diamond Xiaozi was very satisfied with Yu's behavior and spoke with great interest. You really belong to me, Yu, you are so proud of our Whitebeard pirates, ah. Whitebeard immediately called Yu. Bulu Bulu. Bulu Bulu. Yu, who was lying in the dormitory, had just answered the phone when he heard a roar from Whitebeard. Yu. You guy. You promised to come back after killing Blackbeard. Why did you kill Drought Jack of the Beast's pirates now? I have to admire the press in this world. How long it took to kill Drought Jack, the Whitebeard pirates already knew. Yu scratched his head in embarrassment, that, old man, Drought Jack's death has nothing to do with me. He took the initiative to attack me. You said that if I didn't fight back, it would be an embarrassment to our Whitebeard pirates, right? The captains of the Whitebeard pirates were behind Whitebeard, excitedly shouting to Yu from afar. Well done, Yu. I've wanted to kill that bastard Drought Jack for a long time, but I didn't expect that you kid would snatch him away. That's awesome. I heard that you killed Drought Jack instantly. I really want to compete with you again when I get back. Whitebeard directly glared at the group of corps captains behind him, and then they shut up. Whitebeard showed a thoughtful expression. I said, Yu, if you kill Drought Jack, Kaido will definitely cause trouble for you. I think you'd better come back as soon as possible. Kaido. Yu smiled contemptuously. He now had nearly 6,000 Conqueror's points. Even Kaido's old captain didn't look down on him. There was just a Kaido, so there was really no need to be afraid of him. Old man, don't worry, Kaido is here, it's hard to say who will win and who will lose. Yu said lightly. The entire Whitebeard Pirates group sighed. If what Yu said is true, it means that Yu's strength is at least at the level of the 4 emperors. Be good. Does that mean that the Whitebeard Pirates will become the twin emperors? This way, even if we attack the marine headquarters, we will be confident. But, old man, if you kill Drought Jack, I'm afraid it will trigger a war between the Beast Pirates and our Whitebeard Pirates. You won't blame me, will you? Yu said awkwardly. I'm not afraid of Kaido, but I'm afraid that Kaido will vent his anger on the Whitebeard Pirates, and I still feel a little guilty. After Whitebeard heard this, he was stunned for a while and suddenly burst out laughing. Kohahaha. You kid. As long as you are not afraid of Kaido. I am also mainly worried about your safety. Why are you afraid of the Beast Pirates? If the Beast Pirates dare to come, let him come. It's not like they haven't fought before, but, our Whitebeard Pirates seem to have never lost once, kohahaha. A heroic aura instantly infected the entire Whitebeard Pirates. Yes. Last time I stabbed Plague Quinn in the butt. This time, I sighed, I will stab him through again. Last time, I fought 3 flying 6 cells by myself. Grandma, if they hadn't run so fast, there would only be 3 flying cells in the Beast Pirates now. Don't worry about us, Yu, just protect yourself. When we rescue Ace, we will definitely drink for 3 days and 3 nights. Everyone in the Whitebeard Pirates showed their muscles one by one and said boldly. After Yu heard this, a smile appeared on his face. Old man, we originally planned to continue with the 2-front operation. Believe me, I can save Ace. It will also make the Marines completely regret what they did. Whitebeard continued to smile at the sky. Kohaha. Boy, when have I never believed in you? Don't mind the bullshit Beasts Pirates. If they come here, I will definitely remove all of Kaido's dragon scales this time. World Government, Marine Headquarters, each Marine is walking in a hurry. The tired Sengoku is anxiously arranging various tasks in the Fleet Admiral office. Standing beside him are Generals Akainu and Akiji who are reporting on their work. The door was pushed open, and an intelligence soldier from Fleet Admiral's office ran over panting. Report, Sengoku Fleet Admiral. What's going on? As a Marine, you have to behave like a Marine. Sengoku's nerves have been tense these days and he scolded his men. At the most critical moment these days, I don't want to hear any extraneous things. The intelligence soldier took a deep breath and saluted the Sengoku Fleet Admiral and General Akiji. Report to Sengoku Fleet Admiral. General Akiji. Captain Yohane, the Zero Division captain of the Whitebeard Pirates, beheaded Drought Jack. Oh. Sengua's tired look relaxed. This is a good thing. Just let these pirates go dog eat dog. Akiji on the side looked surprised. He really didn't expect that this boy Yu had just wiped out the Blackbeard Pirates, and now beheaded Drought Jack. Presumably, he is also a very vicious pirate. Akiji is looking forward to it in his heart. If the Whitebeard Pirates really dare to come, he hopes to have a good fight with this guy named Yu. Arresting the captain of the Zero Division of the Whitebeard Pirates is considered a great achievement. Sengoku Fleet Admiral, look, do you need to send a lieutenant general to investigate this matter? Seeing that Sengoku did not give an order, the intelligence soldier asked carefully. Sengoku's eyes reflected a white light, he thought for a while, and finally waved his hand and said, "You go down first. I don't think Kaido will let this matter go, let's not get involved in marine." "Yes." After receiving the order, the intelligence soldier gave a military salute to Warring States Fleet Admiral, and then left Fleet Admiral's office with military steps. General Akiji looked suspicious. Drought Jack was not a little pirate. He was beheaded, but Sengoku didn't send anyone to investigate. "This is not like your style, Warring States Fleet Admiral," came a lazy voice. Warring States' eyes became serious and his brows raised slightly. "Kizaru hasn't come back yet. Now is the critical period when Marine Headquarters needs combat power. I don't think it's necessary to dispatch Marines. Compared to this. Buru bulu buru bulu." A phone rang. It was a call from the Marine Editorial Department Major General. A look of expectation flashed in Zengua's eyes. Reporting to the Sengoku Fleet Admiral, the decision to publicly execute Whitebeard's outstanding subordinate Portgas D-Ace, has been sent to all parts of the world. Got it. Zengua squinted his eyes slightly and hung up the phone. Compared with this, now we need to put all our thoughts into preparing for the next war. Warring States said with serious eyes. Akainu and Akiji also showed serious looks. Sengoku Fleet Admiral was right. Even if Drought Jack dies now, it is not a big deal. After all, what Marine will face next is a war with the strongest pirate group in the world. It's war. The reason why the Warring States period did this was for its own purpose. One is to shock the whole world. Let those pirates know the consequences of becoming a pirate. Another purpose is to lure out the Whitebeard pirates and wipe out the most powerful pirate group in the world. If you do this well, you will be able to retire with honor. After hanging up the phone, Sengoku continued to discuss the deployment of this war with Akainu and Akiji in the office. The intense work had been discussed for several hours, and the discussion was not finished yet. That was until the ringing of the phone interrupted them. Brumaru, Buruburu. In the Fleet Admiral office, everyone turned their attention to the phone bug. Zengua frowned. During this critical period, except for the editorial department's public execution report on Ace, no one would call him. He immediately had a bad feeling. After answering the phone, Zengua became furious. Someone actually beat up a Tianlong. Warring States looked incredulous. At such a critical moment, such an unexpected incident happened. Bastard! We must send a general to the Sabaody Islands. Warring States hammered his desk with his hand and spat on Xingzi and said angrily. As for the Tianlong people being beaten, the Warring States period didn't matter. But the World Headquarters has a stupid rule: if the Tianlong people are beaten, a general must be sent to suppress them. This makes the Warring States period very troublesome. Because of the Blackbeard incident, Kizaru is the fastest and has been sent to Robina Island to participate in the investigation, and is still on his way back. Now there are only 2 generals left on our side. I had just announced the execution of Ace. It was the most sensitive few days, when the Marine Headquarters needed combat power the most, but they made such a fool of themselves. But those damn rules, it's not okay if you don't abide by them. Very reluctantly, he asked Akiji and Akainu, which of you will handle the Tianlong incident? Remember, after handling it, return to the headquarters immediately. Akiji looked lazy and touched his forehead. It took a lot of effort to blame Kizaru for the Robina Island incident, and now the Sabaody Archipelago Celestial Dragon incident has come. It's really a big headache. Akainu has a fierce look on his face, and his eyes seem to be able to burst into flames. If you don't want to go, teach me this matter. How dare anyone dare to attack the Celestial Dragons? These pirate trash are really lawless. Send me over and I will wipe them all out. As a hawk in the marine, Akainu directly had murderous intentions towards these supernovae. After saying that, before Sengoku gave the order, Akainu had already approved his Marine Admiral uniform and strode out of the Fleet Admiral office. Yi Yu, who was still unaware on the other side, was still sailing on the sea. Searching for a seagull delivering newspapers in the sky, Yi Yu closed his eyes slightly, and a touch of Conquerors appeared around the seagull, causing all the strange force produced by the seagull to flap its wings to disappear. This is also another level that Yi Yu has reached after continuously improving his Conquerors these days. Now he can control Conquerors finely and even attach Conquerors to biological cells. The seagull slowly fell into Yi Yu's hands, and Yi Yu opened the newspaper directly. An eye-catching headline was printed in the main text of the newspaper: Decision to publicly execute Whitebeard's outstanding subordinate Portgas D. Ace. Yi Yu narrowed his eyes slightly and fell into thought. It seems that this day has finally come. Ace will be executed in Malinfando 3 days later. And my plan is about to be implemented. Changing from his usual casual demeanor, Yi Yu also started to become slightly serious when faced with the giant marine. After so many days of upgrading with Conquerors, I have become powerful enough to open the sea tower stone handcuffs. It was at that time that a huge plan began to be planned in Yi Yu's mind. Wait, Marine Headquarters, wait, Fire Fist Ace, wait for my arrival, Yi Yu. Where this pirate world will go is up to me, Yi Yu, to decide. Close your eyes slightly and open your system panel. Host, Yeyu. Conqueror's Attribute Points, 5804. Devil Fruit Abilities, Shock Ability, Medium, Magma Ability, Advanced, Search Ability, Medium. Devil Fruit, Tanuki Fruit, 3 Artificial Devil Fruits, African Hyena Fruit. Skill, Flash, 100 meters, Conqueror's Passive Defense Shield Shinra Tenjing, self-created. Items, Healing Medicine, Ammunition, Ham, Hamburger, Cola, Red Wine, Turkey, Salad. Now Conquerors has 5,804 points, and he also possesses various abnormal fruit abilities such as Shock Fruit, Rock Berry Fruit, etc. His strength has become stronger in just a few days than when he first came out of the game. Not surprisingly, after Sabaedy's trip to the island, his Conquerors will exceed 6,000. Yi Yu is now looking forward to what kind of reward the system will give him after Conquerors breaks through 6,000. On the Moby Dick, the Whitebeard pirates also received news about Ace's execution. Young men, Ace will be executed in 3 days, prepare to fight. Whitebeard ordered to his men in a kingly manner. Roar! 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 The men of the Whitebeard pirates raised their weapons one by one and shouted. For a time, the momentum was overwhelming. Marco and other captains came to Whitebeard's side and asked doubtfully, "Dad, when we attack Marine Headquarters, why don't we take Yi Yu with us?" Kohaha. Don't worry about that boy Yi Yu. Yi Yu will meet us in Marineland, and the Marines will be surprised by that time. Whitebeard said mysteriously. Marco rolled his eyes, wondering what Yi Yu and his father were planning, and even he didn't know. However, Marco is also looking forward to Yi Yu giving him a surprise during the future Marine Headquarters War. Sabaody Islands, a great route for pirates, the only way to the New World. Novice pirates from all over the world gathered here. At this time, most of the pirates were in a hurry to board the ship. Among these pirates, there are 11 supernova pirates with a bounty of over 100 million, and they talk about the incident of Luffy beating the Celestial Dragon. Really, that guy dared to attack the Tianlong people. Now that we have summoned all the generals, we have to retreat first, said a gangster-looking man in a suit with a cigar hanging from his mouth. Ha ha ha. He's a man who dares to fight the Celestial Dragons. I can't let you leave me behind, Straw Hat Luffy. I will definitely make a big fuss in the New World, ha ha ha. You are, the strange monk with white wings, said G, said with a laugh. Don't worry, I've already done the divination. The probability of us escaping this time is 100%. Hawkins looked calm. As the 3 giants in Supernova, Hawkins, Luffy, and Luo are not in a hurry. Sabaody Archipelago, on Island Number 1, the once prosperous streets with people coming and going have turned into battlefields at this moment. A young man wearing a straw hat stood in front of the auction house and shouted to Hawkins and Luo, "Hey, you all get out of the way. It's so in the way. I told you, I can do these guys by myself." Nailed it. The red-haired kid showed an expression of impatience and said disdainfully to Luffy, "Straw Hat Luffy, you are the one who is in the way. I can handle these marines by myself." With a katana in his hand and a playful look in his eyes, Trajafalo said calmly, "Humph, I advise you not to argue anymore, deal with these marines as soon as possible, and evacuate as soon as possible. If the celestial dragons are beaten, Marine will send generals to suppress them. They are two simple-minded guys." Luffy and Kid showed angry expressions. "Hey, Luo, tell me clearly. Who else are you calling a simple-minded person?" While the three men were arguing with each other, Marine pointed the cannon at the three men. Boom! Boom! Cannonballs were fired at Luffy and the other three. The next moment, two huge fists appeared, one made of rubber and one made of steel, fighting directly against the shells. Luo also opened his room, and some of the shells actually hit Marine himself, causing an explosion. The surrounding Marines looked shocked. What kind of monsters are these three people? "Hold, you must hold, waiting for the arrival of General Akainu." A Marine with the rank of Major General said to the people around him. When the Sabaody Islands were in chaos, a flaming meteor appeared in the sky and hit the Sabaody Islands heavily, shaking the entire island. Under the impact of the flames, a huge pit appeared on the ground, with flames still burning inside. From the huge pit, a man slowly walked out. Wearing a rose corsage, a dark red suit, a cigar in his mouth, and a marine coat specially made by General Marine behind him, he danced in the strong wind. He saw an old sailor who fled to him. He directly lifted the sailor up with one hand, and the old sailor shivered in fear. "General Akainu. General Akainu, these pirates are too powerful, I don't want to die." Akainu blew out a puff of smoke, which was filled with smoke and his eyes were cold. "Asshole. We Marine don't need deserters. You are smearing Marine." After saying that, Akainu Sakaski's arm turned into lava and swallowed the old veteran directly. Zitzi. A puff of smoke appeared, accompanied by the veteran's wail. The old man just now had been completely melted by the magma. One of the pirates who had not had time to escape had extremely frightened eyes. "General Sakaski is so ruthless. You can't be wrong, this is Marine's General Akainu. He even killed his own people, what a crazy guy. But don't fall into his hands, everyone run away. Run away. This is Marine's monster." Akainu Sakaski, with a cigar in his mouth and a ferocious face full of disdain. "They're just a bunch of scumbags of the world." Sakaski cursed. "For Marine's absolute justice, you will go to hell." After saying that, Akainu raised his fist, which was still mixed with the blood of the veteran. Drops of magma from the iron fist flowed on the ground. With a sizzling sound, each one was burned on the ground. "Fire cave. Meteor volcano." Akainu yelled. Magma fists, like meteor showers, lit up the sky red, falling from the sky continuously, hitting the pirates who were fleeing in all directions. Boom! Boom! The ground was covered in a sea of fire. Except for one of the pirates who had roared in terror in front of him just now, they were all burned to ashes by the magma while wailing. Sakaski came to the frightened pirate and spoke slowly, "Tell me. Where is Straw Hat Luffy? If you tell me, I can make you die quickly." This pirate's legs were trembling with fear, and his eyes were filled with deep fear. Those who escaped just now were burned to death. Their deaths were too miserable. "I didn't want to die. I don't know where Straw Hat Luffy is. I really don't know, don't kill me, don't kill me." The frightened pirates begged Akainu for mercy. What he got in return was a disdainful smile from Akainu. "Humph, he's just a worthless scumbag." After saying that, without hesitation, he hit the pirate with his magma-formed iron fist. With a bang, the little pirate who had been begging for mercy just now turned into a headless corpse. His head was melted away by Akainu's lava. He closed his eyes slightly, turned on his sense of knowledge, turned his head to one side, and murmured to himself, "Maybe someone there knows." At this time, due south of the Sabaody Islands, a marine warship was gradually approaching. Yiyu lay on the warship and looked towards the island. Just now, the island was as big as a small black dot, but now its outline has gradually become clearer. It can be seen that the island is full of fire. Yiyu smiled. There is the sound of artillery fire, which proves that this riot has not been completely suppressed. It seems that Jack's emergency has not delayed my progress. Sabaody Islands, here I come. On the Sabaody Islands, Urki, a strange monk with a strong body and a pair of wings on his back, holds his own strange pencil-shaped weapon and directs his men to carry things to the ship. Looking at the sea in the distance, Ulki wiped the sweat from his forehead. "Now, you can stay away from this place of right and wrong." Suddenly feeling a hot energy behind him, he turned around and saw a middle-aged man wearing a marine coat looking at him with a ferocious expression. Rao was the strange monk Urki, one of the supernovas. His face was shocked at this time, and he stared at Akainu. You are General Akainu. Tell me. Where is Straw Hat Luffy?" Sakaski asked threateningly, his fist turning into lava. "I don't know where Straw Hat Luffy is. Even if I knew where he was, I wouldn't tell you this, Marine." Monster Urgi shook his fist and said. "I was able to come to the Sabaody Islands, but I went through countless difficulties. How could I pretend to be a grandson just because the other party was a general?" After hearing the answer from the strange monk Urki, Akainu showed an ugly expression. "I tell you, you pirate scumbags are really ridiculous. Can't you really feel the difference between you and me? I'll just let you feel it," Akainu said angrily with veins popping out. A little pirate with a bounty of more than 100 million dares to talk to General Marine like this. This is an extremely evil era. It should be rectified. Now is the time to implement Marine's absolute justice. Akainu Sakaski's eyes revealed a strong murderous intent, and drops of magma flowed from his body into the ground, constantly burning the land under Akainu's feet. "Big fire!" Akainu roared. The lava formed a huge lava fist, simulating the impact of a volcanic eruption to launch the fist. To deal with these little pirates, Akainu only used 10% of his strength. Even with this power, a large amount of magma was mobilized. The magma fist exploded behind the strange monk Urki with a bang. Urki's huge battleship was swallowed by the magma and turned into a pool of molten iron. After the great eruption, countless volcanic bombs were produced again, impacting and exploding towards the surrounding pirates. The entire sea was instantly ablaze. One move, just one move. He directly wiped out all of Ulki's men, as well as Ulki's huge battleship. The eyes of the strange monk Urki were filled with magma flames, and he could not calm down. "General Bastard! You actually took my men." Urki's veins popped out, his face full of anger. The muscles in his hand protruded, and veins emerged. He held a huge pencil weapon and swung it hard at Sakaski's head. Akainu still had a cold look on his face, the lava on his hands gradually faded away, and he slowly said to Urki, "You are responsible for all this. Since you miss your subordinates so much, then go to hell with them." For Akainu Sakaski, who pursues absolute justice, the life of a pirate is like garbage. Isn't it the Marine General's duty to clean up the garbage? A layer of black armor gradually spread out from the fist in his hand, like black jade, and he caught the powerful and heavy pencil weapon with one hand. Monk Ulki looked shocked. Is this, the power of General Marine? How could he block his full blow so easily in front of General Marine? At this moment, Akainu's phone suddenly rang. Answer the call, report General Akainu and Straw Hat Luffy's whereabouts. We have found out, but they are too powerful and the pacifists are no match for them. Give me your location. Akainu said calmly. Originally, I planned to arrest all the pirates here, but the Warring States Fleet Admiral had an order, and now the two generals who have been sent out have not returned, so I cannot stay here for a long time. The weird monk Urki on the side had cold sweat breaking out on his forehead, and he didn't dare to take a breath. He completely gave up the resistance, and only imagined that Akainu would finish the call, hunt down Luffy, and let him go. Facts have proved that Urki is too naive. Akainu is a general who pursues absolute justice. After hanging up the phone, Akainu smiled coldly. Worthless pirate. A dark fist slammed into the strange monk Urki. There was a sweet feeling in the throat of the strange monk Urki, and he spit out blood with a loud sound, and his fat body fell heavily to the ground. After doing all this, Akainu transformed into magma flames and flew due south in the sky. The battle is still going on, Yiyu's warship is approaching. Sabayati Islands, you can even smell the gunpowder on the islands. After getting off the boat, stepping on the soft grass, Yiyu activated his search ability. 2 minutes later, Yiyu showed a surprised look. The person who came this time was not General Kizaru. It turned out to be Akainu, Sakazuki. The corner of Yiyu's mouth raised slightly. This guy who he was prepared to fight and kill, at this moment, actually came to the Sabayati Islands. Could it be that his arrival created some kind of butterfly effect on the world? In any case, General Akainu landed in the Sabayati Islands to deal with the Tianlong incident. It is definitely a good thing for himself. First of all, Akainu's contribution in the Dingshan War is greater than that of 3 Kizaru. Akainu directly killed Whitebeard, but Kizaru could be said to have been paddling throughout the battle on the top. Killing Akainu yourself will reduce huge resistance to the Dingshan War. On the other hand, I don't have a good impression of Akainu. Now that Blackbeard is dead, the one I want to kill most is the Red Dog. Akainu, today is the day you die. Yiyu said lightly with the corners of his mouth raised slightly. A voice broke Yiyu's thoughts. Save me. Yiyu looked around and saw a tall man with a strange monk appearance lying on the ground, surrounded by the ground burning with magma. When he came to the monk, with his iconic angel wings and exaggerated muscles on his body, it was obvious that this man was none other than the weird monk Ulki in Supernova. Akainu's attack was indeed much more ruthless than Kizaru's. With such an astonishing amount of blood loss, it can be said to be a miracle that this guy Urki can still survive. I did bring the special medicine sent by Brother Ming, but I am not a nosy person. To save people, there are conditions. Yiyu said calmly to the dying bad monk Ulki on the ground, I'll give you this bottle of medicine. As a condition, if you survive, you will work on my ship for 3 years. The corners of Ulki's mouth trembled. Thank you, I agree. Just now, through the devil fruit, most of the power of Akainu's attack was eliminated, and with his strong physical strength, as long as there is potion to heal the injury, he can survive. He is the strange monk Urgi. As a monk, Ulki was sincerely grateful to his savior. It was not like he had never experienced the life of an ascetic, and it would be nothing to live like this for another 3 years. Yiyu smiled slightly, threw the potion on the ground, and walked towards Akainu. No, don't go, there, General Sakazuki is there, he will die. Urki's mouth trembled, and he immediately reminded his benefactor. A gust of wind blew by, and Yiyu's coat fluttered in the wind, still looking like a salted fish. Sakazuki, I came here just for his head. Yiyu moved his eyes and looked in the direction of Akainu, smiling and saying disdainfully. Wurji stared at the careless Yiyu with his eyes filled with shock. What is this young guy talking about? He Is he going to kill General Sakaski? A boy less than 20 years old dared to threaten to kill that beast. Regarding Sakaski's strength, I have already tried it just now, and it is not something that ordinary people can shake. Even if he has abnormal physical strength and the karma fruit ability of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, he still can't withstand a mere punch from Sakaski. Fighting against a general like Akainu is not about seeking death. I was lucky enough to escape with my body, but the person in front of me might not even be able to withstand the power of a fist because of his small body. Benefactor. The strange monk Ulki's lips trembled and he continued to stop Yi-Yu, only to find that the person in front of him had disappeared without a trace. Ulki was left with a wry smile on his face. It seemed that he didn't listen to his dissuasion at all. There was nothing he could do, he had tried his best to stop him. Now it's very difficult for me to even take action, and I really can't stop it. Yi-Yu activated his Conquerors, and flew directly in the direction of Akainu through Conqueror's power. On the other side, Straw Hat Luffy was shouting that Luffy's opponent was not Akainu, but a tyrant bear holding a book. At this time, Luffy fell to his knees on the ground, crying with snot dripping from his nose. Zoro. Nami. Brook. Sanji, ugh. Tyrant Bear, however, still held his book with a calm expression and stared at Luffy, as if praying and saying goodbye. Farewell. Tyrant Bear said calmly. A puffing sound. The meatball fruit ability was activated, and Luffy disappeared without a trace. Jean Mamaru ran over and angrily yelled at the tyrant Xiong. What do you mean, Xiong? I think you have to give Marine an explanation. Akainu Sakaski on the side is fighting Pluton Rayleigh. It can be seen that he has gained a slight advantage. It is only a matter of time to win Pluton Rayleigh. A pair of hot magma fists hit Pluton Rayleigh hard. Rayleigh placed his sword across his chest to resist the hot magma. Akainu Sakaski looked gloomy. Pluton Rayleigh, I never thought that a person like you would be greatly reduced in strength because of his age. Just die under my lava. This is the best destination for an old man like you. Sakaski's eyes narrowed and he said loudly. Roared. Pluton Rayleigh's forehead was already dripping with sweat. He refused to give up. His physical fitness was not as good as before. If he continued to face Akainu in a stalemate, he would definitely be exhausted first. After resisting Akainu's blow, Pluton Rayleigh moved his eyes and looked in the direction of Tyrant Bear, with a smile on his lips. Sakaski's pupils shrank, and he suddenly realized something. He also looked in the direction of Pluton Rayleigh, and noticed the Tyrant Bear's small movements, and veins popped up on his face. Tyrant Bear, what have you done? Akainu's face turned ferocious. My mission has been completed, so goodbye, Sakaski. Pluton Rayleigh raised the corners of his mouth slightly, revealing a smile. Akainu turned around again and saw that even Pluton Rayleigh had quietly flown away. Akainu was left at a loss, with an angry look on his face, clenching his fists, gritting his teeth, and walked towards the Tyrant Bear step by step. Bear, you bastard, I now suspect you of colluding with Luffy and Pluton Rayleigh, now I have the right to arrest you. Tyrant Bear looked calm as he flipped through a page of the Bible. What he can do has been done. As for arresting himself, then arrest him. Even if he is arrested, his fate is to be dragged into Vegapunk's laboratory. For the victory of the revolution, the Tyrant Bear can endure anything. Tyrant Bear raised his hands. Okay, Sakaski, but I can tell you for sure that I will not be imprisoned in the great prison under the sea. Just when Sakaski was about to arrest the Tyrant Bear, a person flew from the sky and slowly landed. Hey, Sakaski, Tyrant Bear can't leave with you just yet. I have some things to do with him. After Yi-Yu landed, he slightly raised the corner of his mouth and said lazily. Sakaski, Jean Mamaru, and Tyrant Bear all looked sideways and looked at the source of the sound. A young man, wearing a short-sleeved shirt and oversized trousers, stretching his waist, was walking step by step in the direction of Akainu and the others. In the forest area, an 8-year-old girl with pink hair opened the grass and pulled out her head. The previously 8-year-old girl turned into a woman with long pink hair, wearing denim suspender shorts, a white half-sleeved shirt, brown long-heeled boots, and a strange heart-shaped lipstick. The heart-shaped lipstick on the mouth is very long, and the face is shocked. Are you kidding? I managed to trick Akainu and escape the disaster, but someone actually went to find Akainu to die. What kind of desperate pirate is this? Why have I never heard of it? Strong curiosity made Xiao Eli Bani pluck up the courage and decide to continue watching for a while. It is estimated that in just a few seconds, she will be killed by General Akainu. Above the sky, on the Sabaody Islands, a photographing seagull that had been following Yu forward sent a radio to the nearest branch of the World Economic News Agency. Morgan Gangs, who was busy reporting on the upcoming battle, was very excited when he received the news, the Tianlong incident. General Akainu. Captain Yoyu of Division 0. These are all intertwined, ha ha ha. Absolutely big news. Sabaody Islands branch, because of the Ace incident, I mainly follow up on the Whitebeard pirates and the Marine headquarters. I leave this news to you. This news must be filmed well. Morgan's arranged. The general manager of Sabaody Archipelago News Distribution, a middle-aged man wearing glasses, showed excited eyes. This kind of big news is usually personally handled by the president. I consider myself lucky, because the conflict between the Whitebeard pirates and Marine may trigger a war. The president is busy reporting on Marine headquarters, so he cannot come in person this time. This is a huge opportunity for me. If I shoot well, I can even be promoted to the headquarters of the Economic News Agency. Ruth, come with me, big news, the middle-aged manager said mysteriously. A young beauty, less than 20 years old, showed suspicious eyes. What's the matter, manager? You actually need to take action personally? Ruth asked in confusion. You'll know when you get there. I'll shoot the news this time, and the bonus will be enough for you to spend your whole life. The middle-aged man said with excitement on his face. When Ruth heard this, she looked shocked. A lifetime bonus? This was something she had never even dared to think about before. Needless to say, the news this time must be shocking enough. Enough exciting. Yes. Manager. Ruth's eyes showed an expectant look. Sakaski looked suspicious. Who is this reckless kid? Bear. Tell me. What did you do behind Marine's back? Sakaski roared at the bear. Tyrant Bear was indeed confused. It is true that he and Marine are not of the same mind. He joined Shichibukai just to provide convenience for his revolutionary army. But I don't remember that there was such a salty-looking guy in the revolutionary army. Could he be Sabo's friend? Jean Taowan on the side showed a shocked look. I know who this person is. He is Captain Yu of the 0 Division of the Whitebeard Pirates. I recently received news from him that this guy actually beheaded Drought Jack. Sakaski suddenly remembered that he did hear this report in the Fleet Admiral office today, but because it was mainly about the war, he didn't take it seriously at the time. Unexpectedly, I would meet Yu, who has been very popular recently, so soon. Just killing a mere Drought Jack, Akainu didn't take Yu seriously at all. To him, even Yu's captain, Whitebeard Edward Newgate, was just a piece of pirate trash. Akainu clenched his fist, wrapped in a layer of magma, and the surrounding air became hot because of Akainu's lava. Who was I at the time? I was just a white-bearded dog. How could a remnant of the old era have such great subordinates? Ha 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 ha. Akainu looked at Yu with a look of disdain and laughed. Tyrant Xiong also slowly spoke to Yu. I don't think I know you, Yu. That's right, you don't know me. I'm here to ask for your help and send me to a place. Yu said calmly. However, I see that this Sakaski seems to be holding handcuffs to arrest you. In order for you to use your abilities normally, and in return. Let's do this, I'll kill Sakaski. This is the easiest way. Yiyu said indifferently, completely ignoring Akainu, as if killing General Akainu was as easy as killing a chicken. This sentence made everyone present open their mouths with disbelief on their faces. I really don't know if the kid in front of me is really powerful, or is he just a good talker. Want to kill General Akainu? Even the 4 emperors can't kill Sakaski easily. Tyrant Bear said nothing, acquiescing to what Yiyu said. I am already a person who is about to be transformed and lose consciousness. Before I bid farewell to this world, I really want to see if a young kid under 20 years old can really kill General Akainu. Xiao Elibani, a girl with a big stomach, opened her eyes wide, her beautiful eyes filled with surprise. Kill the general? Is the captain of the Whitebeard pirates really capable of killing the general? All eyes were focused on Yiyu. In full view of the crowd, Yiyu raised his head slightly, his mood did not fluctuate at all, and he still looked carefree. Akainu's eyes were solemn, his teeth were chattering in anger, veins appeared on his forehead, and he stared at Yiyu with a cold expression. The world has really changed. When a mouse sees a cat, it won't run away. It's up to me, Akainu, to turn this garbage world around. Big fire. Akainu roared with all his strength. Without too much nonsense, Sakaski blasted Yiyu with the molten fist in his hand. A strong hot aura enveloped the surroundings, and a huge fist of magma rushed towards Yiyu's face. Jean Tamaru on the side also turned on his own armed color. The dark armed color was wrapped around his special battle axe, shining like black jade. I will not spare you, a guy who only knows how to talk. After saying that, Jean Tamaru directly slashed the weapon-colored battle axe hard on Yiyu's head. Looking at the attack of the 2 men, Yiyu yawned. There is absolutely no need to avoid it. Bonnie, the big-stomach girl in the forest, opened her eyes wide and kept shaking her head. It seems like this kid is just a big talker. He's standing there motionless. Is he scared out of his wits? A boring battle. Sure enough, with the combat power of a general, it's best to run away, the big-stomach girl murmured. The tyrant bear on the side had a rare expression that was no longer calm, as if he had foreseen something. Just when the big-stomach girl Bonnie was about to escape, the next scene shocked everyone. The air seemed to be burned wherever the magma fist passed, and the entire sky was reflected red. When the terrifying energy was about to reach Yiyu, Yiyu just stretched out his hand. The unstoppable magma fist just now was strangely absorbed into Yiyu's body and disappeared without a trace. Next, Jean Tamaru's second attack came, hitting Yiyu with a powerful and heavy blow, whistling in Yiyu's ears. Under the strong wind pressure, dust flew up from the branches at Yiyu's feet. Jean Mamoan was confident that with this blow, even a diamond could be cut into 2 pieces with his black axe. Yiyu didn't even look at Jean Mamaru, and the Conqueror's defensive shield automatically opened. Jean Taowan only felt that his attack seemed to have hit something huge and immovable. The strong reaction force directly shocked Jean Taowan's arm to numbness. Jean Taowan was shocked to find that his axe, which could cut off everything in the world, was shattered into pieces after being struck. An invisible defensive shield appeared, and ripples spread. What kind of terrifying ability is this? Jean Taowan swallowed his saliva and said in great shock. Without giving Jean Taowan much chance to think, the next moment, the invisible force seemed to explode, suddenly expanded, and a powerful force appeared. Feeling this power, Jean Taowan's pupils dilated, his mouth opened wide, and his lips trembled. You can't hide at all. The next moment, there was a loud bang. Jean Tamaru, with a fat body, appeared from the sky, through a parabolic arc, and finally landed heavily in the forest area. The surrounding land cracked, creating a huge hole in the ground. Jean Taowan's legs are on top, and his head is below the ground, like a planted plant, deeply inserted into the soil. Captain of the World Science Force, Jean Mamaru, a man who claimed to be the most defensive man in the world, was knocked unconscious by Yi Yu's blow. Bonnie, the girl with a big stomach on the side, had bright eyes filled with shock and horror. Focus on Yi Yu again, are you kidding me? With his own strength, he actually defeated the attacks of General Sakaski and Watermelon Head? Akainu's rock berry fruit, I have just seen it, it's abnormal energy, I feel like I can't withstand a single blow. But the carefree young man in front of him was directly absorbed. What kind of weird ability is this? And, one hit. Just one blow and this Watermelon Head was solved. Totally an instant kill. Although this Watermelon Head looks very strange in appearance, Bonnie knows very well in his heart. He just saw with his own eyes that this Watermelon Head beat Luffy, who was second in the Supernova Bounty, to the point where he was unable to fight back. Force. Especially Watermelon Head's air attack and perverted defense, it's not an exaggeration to call it an iron wall. To be killed by Yi Yu so easily is really unbelievable. Is this young man a monster? Are all the characters from the New World so scary? Bonnie's long eyelashes trembled involuntarily and she said with emotion. The tyrant bear beside him no longer had the calm expression he usually had when reading the Bible. When did the Whitebeard pirates recruit such a powerful guy? There was no record of this guy before in the Revolutionary Army's intelligence. In the eyes of Tyrant Bear, the boy in front of him was completely unknown. Unexpectedly, before I bid farewell to this world, I would be able to see such a special little ghost. I hope that if this kid can survive from Sakaski's hands, he will bring happiness instead of disaster to people all over the world in the future. Also shocked was Sakaski on the side. The arrogant Sakaski did not show anything towards Jean Mamaru's defeat. After all, in Sakaski's view, Jean Mamaru is just a subordinate of Kizaru. Even Kizaru himself doesn't care, let alone a mere Jean Mamaru. What I can't understand is the strange ability of that boy Yi Yu. Why does his rock berry fruit, with such terrifying power, disappear strangely when he attacks Yi Yu? It's like, being absorbed. This kid can actually absorb his own magma. How is this possible? The temperature of magma can reach several thousand degrees Celsius, and even stones can melt. I don't know how many times higher than the temperature of ordinary flames. But in front of this boy Yi Yu, he actually didn't cause any harm at all. His best attack was completely useless in front of this trash pirate, which gave Akainu a slight headache. Looking at Akainu with a strange expression at this moment, Yi Yu smiled. What, Sakaski, are you ready to surrender? If you kowtow to me 3 times, I can consider making your death easier, ha ha ha. Seeing Akainu in such discomfort, Yi Yu felt very happy inside and laughed unkindly. Yi Yu's laughter sounded particularly harsh to Akainu. Who was he? He was the general of the Marine headquarters. Sakaski. I never thought that one day, I would be laughed at by a fledgling kid. Boy. Don't be too arrogant. I haven't used my full strength yet. Just wait, I will burn you to ashes. Akainu roared angrily, spitting stars flying everywhere. It just so happened that I didn't use all my strength. Let's see how we all use magma to attack and see who can control the magma better. Yi Yu smiled mysteriously and said lightly. Lava attack. Let's see whose lava is stronger. What is this kid talking about? Could it be said that the boy in front of me has the same ability as myself? It's impossible. There won't be 2 identical devil fruits in this world. This is basic common sense. Yi Yu's words completely confused Sakaski. The people around him, including Tyrant Bear and Bonnie, were also confused. They all looked at Yi Yu with curious and surprised eyes. How many secrets did this boy have hiding? Could it be that Akainu really has the same fruit power? Bonnie's eyes were locked on Yi Yu, showing a deep curiosity. This pirate seemed to be different from the pirates he had come into contact with before. Akainu on the side suddenly laughed. Boy, do you really think I will believe that you can also use magma ability? Sakazuki thought for a while, but still refused to believe what Yiyu said, thinking that Yiyu just wanted to confuse his mind before the battle and reduce his combat effectiveness through psychological warfare. When real masters compete with each other, even a small difference may lead to completely different results. When I was still a lieutenant general, I had failed in a battle with the legendary pirate. The reason for my failure was that I was affected by the enemy's psychological tactics. After that failure, I kept honing my mind, and finally formed my own absolutely righteous style. Now that Yiyu is here, I have cultivated my heart like a rock, and I am no longer the childish Akainu I was before. A strong fighting spirit rose in Sakazuki's eyes. He locked his eyes on Yiyu and his arms turned into magma. The scorching temperature instantly produced a large amount of water vapor around him. If you don't believe it, there's nothing I can do, Akainu. But you can see it soon. Yiyu said with a smile. Wanting to kill Akainu is definitely a very simple thing for me at present. The Conquerors with nearly 6,000 points is not something that a mere general can resist. What Yiyu wants to do is to completely break through Sakazuki's inner defenses, completely defeat Akainu psychologically, and let Akainu lose humiliatingly at his hands. Defeating Akainu with the ability that Akainu is most proud of, Yiyu believes that it will definitely leave an indelible impression on Akainu's mind. Let this arrogant kid who lights candles fully understand what it means that there is a world outside the sky, and there are people outside the world. What is Marine's absolute justice? In the face of absolute strength, true strength is the most absolute justice. Justice is not Marine, only victory represents justice. After saying that, Yiyu's arm also changed strangely. The previously white arm turned into hot lava. Drops of magma flowed into the ground, burning large holes, and white smoke billowed out of the holes. A mysterious birdhouse appeared in the sky. The man in the house took a professional camera in the birdhouse and took crazy pictures of Yiyu. Click. 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 Waves of flashes appeared, and a white light reflected from the middle-aged man's glasses. Sweat broke out on his forehead, and his face was filled with shock. I really didn't expect. There is such a monster in this world, and it actually has the same ability as General Akainu. Fortunately, after such a wonderful battle, we finally caught up, Ruth. This time we are going to be prosperous. Ha! The middle-aged man's eyes flashed with excitement and anticipation. Ruth on the side pointed the camera at Yiyu, her beautiful eyes flashed, and her mouth opened wide in surprise. Manager, didn't you say that it is impossible for the same devil fruit ability to appear in this sea? How, why does Yiyu know General Sakazuki's abilities? The middle-aged man smiled and murmured to Ruth. Ruth, this sea has so many secrets. How much can you and I know? What we can do is record all these wonderful scenes. Shock the world. Yes, manager. Ruth said excitedly. This time, it's really big news. Ruth could already imagine that after successfully filming this battle. I got a bonus and my hands cramped while counting the money. For unknown reasons, strong winds began to blow throughout the Sabaody Islands. Bonnie, who was located in the forest area, hugged a big tree. Bonnie's eyes were shocked, and her mouth slowly opened wide with heart-shaped lipstick on it. This kid really knows how to use magma. Is the battle between two monsters about to begin? With Yiyu and Akainu as the center, a burning atmosphere formed. Akainu widened his eyes with doubt and confusion on his face. The kid in front of me can actually turn into lava. His ability is exactly the same as his own. How about it, Akainu, are you trustworthy now? Yiyu smiled faintly. Damn boy, how come you know my fruit ability? Akainu Sakazuki became angry and aimed his lava-shaped arm at Yiyu. Meteor volcano. Akainu shouted. Fire fists were fired one after another from the shoulders, and the entire sky was filled with dazzling light. The red light made people feel numb, and they drove towards Yu at an extremely fast speed. Seeing the red flames in the sky hurriedly, Akainu showed a confident expression, twisted his neck, and looked at Yu with contempt. "How about it, kid? Even if you have magma ability, what can you do? The degree of exploitation of rock berry fruits is the real quality that a strong man should possess. Kill you, and I will hand over your body to the World Science Department. Why do you have the ability of rock berries?" Akainu Sakaski curled his lips and murmured. "I once heard Vegapunk from the World Science Department say that if the conditions are met, he can artificially create a fruit that is no different from a devil fruit. When Kaido was arrested, Vegapunk used Kaido's blood to cultivate a devil fruit that could transform into a dragon. However, because the conditions were not mature enough, it became a defective product. Now some inferior artificial devil fruits have been experimented, and it is possible for Yu to eat such fruits. The reason why Yu has rock berry fruits can be found out by leaving it to Vegapunk." After hearing Akainu's words, Yu looked at Akainu with an idiotic expression. The magma-formed arm in his hand was also pointed in the direction of Akainu. "I said, Akainu, do you really think that your magma ability is superior to mine?" After saying that, Yu also looked exactly like Akainu and released Meteor Volcano. Like rockets being launched, the fists of magma hit Akainu at the speed of thunder. The entire sky turned red instantly. Boom! Boom! Yiyu's Meteor Volcano and Akainu's Meteor Volcano keep colliding in the sky. There was a huge roaring sound. Pieces of magma rubble, carrying thick black smoke, slid down from the sky. Sakaski's face was very ugly, with a fierce look on his face. "Damn you brat!" Akainu roared angrily. This time Sakaski's face was completely lost. He is a marine general and a rock berry fruit user, and his ability to control magma is on the same level as the captain of the Whitebeard pirates. If this spreads out, I will be laughed to death by people in this world. Bonnie, who was in the forest area, looked at the sky, his eyes filled with fire. Bonnie opened his mouth wide. This time, I believe that there really is someone with the same ability as General Akainu. Is this the strong man from New World? Oh my god, it has completely changed my understanding of the world. The tyrant bear also widened his eyes, closely observing the collision of magma in the sky. This boy is young, but his strength is not ordinary. And this kid has magma power. Is it because of that guy from Vegapunk? When Vegapunk was mentioned, Tyrant Bear's face became strange. If that guy were to say that he could really make anything. He also wants to be transformed by Vegapunk for the sake of revolution. Tyrant Bear knows his fate very well. But for the revolutionary army and for the millions of people, Xiong is willing to go through fire and water. The middle-aged man from the news agency directly above was directing the birds to move the birdhouse to a higher position. Such a terrifying power, but you will be affected and die. However, it was impossible to see that everyone in the news agency was afraid. On the contrary, everyone showed excited expressions. Ruth looked excited. "Manager, these two rockberry fruit users are absolutely big news. This time, we are really going to publish it." The middle-aged manager also had an excited look on his face and said enthusiastically, "Not only is it published, we are going to make a name for ourselves this time. Once this news is filmed, I can be transferred to the headquarters of the World Economic News Agency openly." Ha ha ha. Urki, located on the coastline, also noticed the collision in the sky. His face was dull, he was swallowing his saliva frantically, and the corners of his mouth were trembling. The battle has begun. Why, both sides will use magma ability. One is undoubtedly Akainu, and the other, could be the benefactor just now. Boy, you must die here today. Veins popped up on Sakaski's forehead and he continued to roar angrily. A large amount of magma gathered on the fist, and the surrounding temperature rose by dozens of degrees. Go to hell. Dog bites Guren. The magma that had gathered on the fist just now turned into a dog-headed shape, very fierce. Under Akainu's loud shout, the dog's head, which was made of magma, rushed towards Yi with its mouth wide open. Yi looked disgusted. I released Meteor Volcano just now, because it was my first time to use the rock berry fruiting ability, and it was a bit uncomfortable. After the blow just now. I am already completely familiar with the release of rock berries. Now, my ability to control magma is as easy as controlling my own conquerors. Akainu, your ability to name names is too weak. Yi curled his lips and said lightly. After saying that, the magma on Yi's arm turned into a dragon head. With a dragon roar, the surrounding air was shaken, and then he rushed towards Akainu's dog-eating red lotus. The dragon eats the red lotus. In the center of Yi and Akainu, two terrible forces collided, creating a powerful force and extremely strong wind pressure. The wind pressure rushed to the surroundings with billowing heat waves. The magma dog head launched by Akainu was directly suppressed by Yi's dragon-eating red lotus. The entire magma dog head was swallowed in one gulp. Then he rushed towards Akainu. Akainu's face changed drastically. His dog-eating red lotus was eaten by Yi's move. How could his full blow have been hit like this by Yi, who was so careless and casual about it? Before he had time to think about it, a magma dragon arrived at Akainu's side. Akainu turned on his perception to the extreme and dodged. With a bang, the dragon's head hit Akainu's feet just now. It burned directly into a huge pothole. Akainu on the side was panting violently, his eyes glanced at the magma pit next to him, sweat dripping down his back. This scorching temperature is actually more destructive than the magma it releases. If it weren't for my usual physical training and advanced knowledge, I might not have been able to dodge the blow just now. If an attack of this intensity hits him, even if he is a rock berry fruit user, he will definitely die or be disabled, Akainu thought with shock in his heart. The eyes of the tyrant bear on the side flashed with surprise. Is this mysterious boy stronger than Sakaski? Bonnie, who was located in the forest area, was also amazed for a while, his beautiful eyes widened. It's scary, it's really scary. Monster. That pirate is also a monster. A pirate actually has a magma ability that is on par with Akainu, no. It can even be said to be more powerful than Akainu. This made Bonnie, who had just become a supernova, feel fear in his heart. New world, so scary. Because of Yi's overly powerful performance, Bonnie thought that the entire new world was very powerful. In fact, Yi's strength had already surpassed the four emperors. It's just that Yi is not famous enough now, and everyone just regards Yi as the man closest to the four emperors. This made Bonnie uneasy. Players of his level would not be able to see enough if he went to New World. Bonnie looked worried. It also made Bonnie's goal of becoming the king of pirates waver. It's understandable that Akainu has terrifying power. But Yi is just a pirate under 20 years old. Such a terrifying talent, Bonnie feels that he will never be able to overcome it in his lifetime. The so-called supernova, the worst era, turned dim in an instant before Yi's eyes. News agency in the sky, at this time, the birdhouse is already 10 kilometers away from the ground again, because only in this way can they ensure that they will not be affected by the aftermath of the scorching heat. The middle-aged man at the head had expectant eyes and was very excited. I really didn't expect that the captain of Division 0 is so powerful. That's a general. Ruth was also smiling. The stronger Yi is, the more interesting our news will be, right? The general arrested the captain of the Four Emperors Regiment. This news is not very exciting. It would be best, to be the captain of the Four Emperors group, beheading General Marine. This is a gimmick, isn't it? Ruth said excitedly. You really dare to imagine, Ruth. Beheading General Marine. If this is really the case, and we film it, we will be famous figures in the press. Ha ha ha, the middle-aged man looked at Ruth and said. On the battlefield, Yu showed disdain towards Akainu. With a carefree look, he slowly opened his lips. How's it going, Sakazuki? Is my magma control better than yours? After hearing Yu's words, Akainu's face turned red and he clenched his teeth tightly. Asshole. He's just a pirate, but he dares to play tricks on me. After saying that, Akainu jumped high into the sky, wrapped his fists in armed armor, and smashed them hard at Yu. Yu showed a disdainful smile again. With a bang, Akainu's armed fist seemed to hit some kind of diamond shield, which only made Akainu feel numb. Ripples shook, and a Conqueror's defensive shield appeared in all directions with no blind spots. Sakazuki showed a cautious look. Is this the defensive shield that was used to avoid the attacks from me and Jean Momomura just now? How come it feels like Conquerors when you feel it up close? The tyrant Xiong on the side was also surprised. He put down the Bible in his hand and fixed his eyes on Yu. This young man who claimed to be asking for help was actually able to withstand Akainu's attack. You know, Akainu's physical skills in the Marine headquarters are not weak. It is not an exaggeration to even call Akainu the general with the strongest physical skills among the 3 generals. The young man in front of me actually resisted such a terrifying blow. This perverted talent is already comparable to that of his own revolutionary boss, the most dangerous criminal in the world, Revolutionary Long. Asshole. Lousy bets on Marine's justice and will kill you. Frustrated again and again at the hands of a boy less than 20 years old, Akainu Sakazuki's heart has completely collapsed. Who are you? He is the General of Marine. His super talent was noticed by teacher Zifa and he was accepted as his disciple. Ever since he joined Marine, he has been making outstanding achievements. He is called a monster-like existence by people. When others see you, aren't they filled with fear? But today, when I faced a young boy less than 20 years old, I couldn't take any advantage. What's even more hateful is that this kid keeps mocking himself, and he can't refute it at all. This makes Akainu furious. I will definitely kill you. Akainu roared again, and at this time, he had completely lost his mind. The muscles all over Akainu's body bulged, and the veins on his arms protruded. His dark fists continued to exert force, and the powerful momentum quickly spread to the surroundings with the 2 as the center. The ground beneath Yu's feet collapsed and cracked, with cracks spreading all around. Under the powerful momentum, the wind roared, stones and sawdust were flying on the ground, and even the trees beside the Sabaody Islands were uprooted. Even with such a powerful and huge body, Tyrant Bear couldn't help but take 2 steps back. It's just, is the wind pressure so strong, it drove Akainu to lose his mind. How could this guy named Yu be so terrifying? Tyrant Bear resisted the strong wind, his eyes flashing, he said with narrowed eyes. The birdhouse in the sky began to sway from side to side under this momentum. Stay steady, you must stay steady. In order to prevent being affected, members of the World Economic News Agency had to raise the height of the birdhouse again. Bonnie in the forest widened his eyes and watched the battle attentively. This defensive shield is so powerful. Admiral Marine's powerful attack was so easily resisted. Bonnie said in shock. Immediately afterwards, the strong wind hit directly. Bonnie hugged a big tree next to him tightly, but it still had no effect. Under the strong wind pressure, Bonnie was blown into the sky together with the big tree. Bonnie, who had difficulty breathing in the air, was completely speechless. How could the battle between 2 monsters be so terrifying? Just the aftermath, I can't resist it. Now think about it, the so-called supernova is simply a joke. The Sabaody Islands were preparing to support Akainu's marine army. As soon as they approached the battle site, they were blown around by the terrifying strong wind. There were extremely shocked looks on each of their faces. Is this Terrifying strong wind caused by humans. Oh my god. What kind of monster is General Akainu fighting? No matter what kind of monster it is, General Akainu will definitely be able to defeat it. The residents on the island were all frightened and ran into their houses, huddled under the bed and shivered. A natural disaster. This is a natural disaster. Even the creatures on the Sabaody Islands felt the power of this force. The animals fled in all directions, and flocks of birds flew out of the island in fear. However, even if Marine General Akainu tried his best to strike, his fist could only pass 10 centimeters past the defensive shield. It feels extremely difficult to move any further. I'm still in a hurry. Your death date has come, Sakazuki. Yu twisted his arm. After playing with Akainu for so long, it was time to show his strength. Boy, don't be arrogant. Justice will never fail. Akainu's other fist turned into lava at some point. Dark Hound. Akainu shouted. It turns out that the attack just now was just to get closer to Yu and shorten the distance with Yu. Dark Hound is Akainu's fastest and most destructive attack. The angry Akainu decided to use his most terrifying blow to maximize his advantage at close range to end Yu's life. Yu raised his eyebrows, his eyes were cold, and he slowly said, Akainu, you can't represent justice at all. He's just a piece of trash venting his emotions under the guise of justice. As if it was Akainu's final judgment, thick and hot lava appeared on Yu's arm. Magma Dragon Fist. This is a move performed by Yu in the manner of Akainu Dark Hound. Of course, it was just a comparison of the release method. He would not release a red dog. Yu relied on his top-level control of the Magma Devil Fruit to directly release a red Magma Dragon. He also gave this move a domineering name, Magma Dragon Fist. A blast to Akainu's Dark Hound. The air seemed to freeze at this moment. The tyrant bear who was watching the battle on the sidelines, with shocked eyes, feeling the fighting spirit around him, jumped back dozens of meters away. After landing, a reflected white light appeared on Tyrant Bear's glasses and he slowly spoke. A terrible attack. Even if I am affected by the aftermath, I will be injured. Two terrifying guys. The members of the World Economic News Agency above the sky opened their mouths wide and stared at the battlefield. The head of the branch manager of the news agency was the first to speak. We must take these pictures well. This is a battle between truly peerless warriors. Every moment is valuable, the middle-aged man said excitedly. Encouraged by the middle-aged man, people around him worked hard. Ruth took out her ultra-clear camera, adjusted the angle, and focused on Yu and Akainu's crazy filming. Click. 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 Ruth wants to capture every millisecond, every microsecond of the moment. This battle news is really exciting. Ruth said excitedly with excitement in her beautiful eyes. Buzz. Yu and Akainu clash in a decisive battle. The ground beneath the two people's feet collapsed instantly, and a huge force spread. The ground around them collapsed, and huge cracks spread all around. A huge buzzing sound resounded throughout the entire Sabaody Islands. At this moment, the entire Sabaody Islands seemed to have experienced an earthquake, and the entire ground began to tremble violently. With Yu and Akainu as the center, where the two collided, a strong wave of heat was generated, surging in all directions. The strange monk Ulki, who was located at the edge of the coastline, could now sit up slightly with his strong recovery ability. As soon as I sat up, I felt a terrifying earthquake and the violent hot wind around me. With a dull look on his face, Ulki looked towards the direction Yu had gone before, his lips trembling in shock. This, could it be, which big pirate Akainu is fighting? Ulki said in surprise. Who is it that can fight General Marine to such a terrifying level? 'Cause a natural disaster. In such a terrifying battle, even if you are watching from the sidelines, just resisting the aftermath, you will still be hurt. Ulki thought with great shock. Boom! A powerful thick smoke was produced around the two of them. After the collision, the smoke finally dissipated. The tyrant bear on the side had a face full of anticipation, without even blinking, as he kept watching the final result of the battle on the battlefield. This blow should determine the outcome. Tyrant bear murmured. In the bird house in the sky, dozens of cameras, and lenses are all pointed at Yu, waiting for the outcome of the final battle. It's here. The middle-aged man's eyes flashed with light and he shouted excitedly. Located above the battlefield, the smoke faded. Akainu Sakaski, this guy who was once a Marine general, pursued absolute justice, and killed innocent people indiscriminately for the sake of Marines' absolute justice. At this moment, he actually fell to the ground. There were extensive burns all over his body, and white smoke was still rising from his body due to the devouring of magma. Akainu's expression looked very ferocious, his teeth were clenched tightly, and a lot of sweat broke out on his forehead. The strong pain made Sakaski's body shake involuntarily. The tyrant bear on the side widened his eyes and stood there blankly, unable to believe the scene in front of him. Akainu, Sakaski. This Marine headquarters general, who had made so many pirates fearful, was lying on the ground at this moment. Moreover, he was still swallowed by magma. You know, Akainu, who has the ability to bear rock berries, is much more resistant to high temperatures than ordinary people. Even so, Akainu at this moment, swallowed by the magma, is still in such a mess. All this can only show that this young man's control over magma is far superior to Akainu Sakaski. It sounds incredible. A Marine general who ate Logia rock berries was defeated by a newcomer in the end, and he was defeated by his grandmaster's magma ability. It sounds ridiculous, but the facts are right in front of you. The severe pain made it difficult for Akainu to speak. Why, you, guy, with magma ability, are still, above me. Sakaski said through gritted teeth. Yu frowned. This guy Sakaski was really so stubborn that he was about to die, and he was still thinking about his own abilities. You can just make up a reason and make Akainu believe it. For example, you ate some high-end artificial fruit, or you have the ability to copy the fruit. But, the crux of the question is, why should I answer Akainu's question? Wouldn't it be better to just let Akainu die in doubt and confusion? For a guy who kills innocent people indiscriminately, even his own men, this way of death is the best way to die. Akainu, I have the right to refuse to answer your question. Yiyu's eyes were full of disdain. Akainu, you have been killing innocent people indiscriminately under the guise of justice all your life. I have avenged the dead souls you have killed. Wake up. Facing a bereaved dog, Yiyu didn't want to waste any words. A huge amount of magma gathered in his hand, which was even more terrifying than the blow just now. With a dragon roar, the magma in his hand turned into a fire dragon, staring angrily at Sakaski. Red light reflected in Akainu's eyes, and the surrounding temperature rose directly to 100 degrees. The moisture in the air was burned into steam at this terrifying temperature. Seeing such a terrifying power that he could not avoid in his current state, Akainu completely fell into madness. I am Marine's general. If you kill me, your entire Whitebeard pirates will be buried with you. Akainu roared loudly. You are just a member of the Whitebeard pirates, a piece of trash, and you dare to kill me, General Marine. Akainu had lost his mind at this time. Since joining Marine, Sakaski have made many extraordinary achievements, rising from a Marine to a Marine general. I don't know how many pirates I have killed and how much garbage I have cleaned up for the world. When were the pirates not kneeling on the ground, begging for mercy? He was now a Marine general, but he was threatened by a pirate. This made Akainu very angry. Faced with Akainu's gaffe, Yiyu raised the corners of his mouth, showing a disdainful smile, and slowly walked toward Sakaski step by step. Looking at Akainu, Yiyu sighed slightly. Akainu, who had always been steady, became like this in front of him. It must be that he has magma ability, and his magma ability is still higher than Akainu's. This greatly shocked Akainu's heart. Ren Akainu would never have thought that one day, he would be killed by his devil fruit ability. And the one who killed him was the pirate he disliked the most. This should be retribution. Without too much hesitation, Yi Yu took action directly. A divine dragon with magma flowing all over its body opened its huge mouth. Under its hot breath, the space became illusory, and the surrounding air seemed to be burning. A dragon roar rushed directly towards Akainu's heart. Boom! After losing his mobility, Akainu could only watch as this terrifying blow penetrated him. Akainu widened his eyes, a fire dragon reflected in his eyes, and his face was filled with fear. My current state is simply impossible to escape. Without enough time to react, the magma dragon penetrated Akainu's heart directly. A tragic scream sounded, and after his heart was pierced, Akainu's entire body was corroded and burned by magma. At this moment, Akainu finally tasted the pain that he had never experienced before, and finally understood what kind of pain those pirates and Marines who were burned to death by his own lava experienced before they died. Torture. Akainu on the ground was grabbing something randomly with his palms. In less than a minute, it was completely reduced to ashes. The terrible lava eroded all Akainu's bones. The proud, arrogant, and defiant Akainu had turned into a pool of fleshy lava. Yi Yu looked down at the magma on the ground without any ripples. This is the way you deserve to die, Akainu. I wasted so much time, Akainu, you are really troublesome. Yi Yu said with a yawn. Then he continued to move slowly towards the position of the bear on the side. He was so shocked that he froze at the origin, motionless, the tyrant bear. At this time, Tyrant Bear's heart was turbulent and he could not calm down. The kid in front of me not only has the power of rock berries, but he is also more powerful than Akainu. This all makes Tyrant Bear a little suspicious. Could it be that the guy from Vegapunk has perfectly mastered all the techniques to transform humans? Yi Yu was transformed based on Akainu's ability. After all, after killing a marine general, Yi Yu's expression is still so calm. If Yi Yu was just a human, then Yi Yu's psychological quality would be too strong. The person he killed was not an ordinary person, he was General Marine from the Marine headquarters, who was guarding a sea area. Above the sky, inside the birdhouse, the action of taking pictures came to an abrupt end. Even though they have the professional qualities of journalism, they can't restrain their inner shock at this time. Ruth's slender fingers were trembling, her face was full of shock, and her lips were slightly opened. Yi Yu actually killed Marines General Sakaski. The middle-aged man also has an extremely exaggerated appearance. Moreover, I still used the power of magma to kill Akainu instantly. During the battle, I completely suppressed Akainu and had no backhand power. The former General Akainu was burned and eroded by magma at this moment, and no body was left behind. How terrible! The surrounding news workers all showed expressions of extreme fear. This is really big news this time. Leave him to Lord Morgan's. Our future in the journalism world will be limitless. President Morgan's will definitely reward us, the middle-aged man said with emotion. Yi Yu didn't notice everything in the sky and came to Tyrant Xiong's side. Yi Yu spoke slowly, I wasted a little time, I hope you don't mind, Revolutionary Mr. Xiong. Yi Yu said with a smile on his face. Revolutionary Bear. When Yi Yu called him Revolutionary Bear, Tyrant Bear showed a surprised expression. When was his identity exposed? Impossible, my confidentiality work has been carried out perfectly. Xiong looked at Yi Yu warily. How do you know my identity? A bright light reflected from Tyrant Bear's glasses. Yi Yu spread his hands, don't be nervous, Xiong. I'm just the captain of the Zero Division of the Whitebeard Pirates. However, you and I have the same goal, which is to overthrow the rule of the Tianlong people. Yi Yu said with a smile. You, how can I trust you? Tyrant Bear still looked suspicious. Facing a powerful opponent like Yi Yu, you can't be careless. Even a strong man of Sakazuki's level was instantly killed. Moreover, Yi Yu seems to have abilities that are more terrifying than rock berries, such as the defensive shield. So far, I don't know what weird ability it is. Yi Yu smiled lightly. It's simple. The Tianlong people who were beaten should still be on this island. Isn't it okay to kill this kind of maggot in human society? Yi Yu spread his hands and yawned. The words he spoke were in sharp contrast to Yi Yu's careless appearance on the surface. What did you say, you want to kill the Tianlong people? Tyrant Xiong said in disbelief. The young people in front of me are more revolutionary than the Revolutionary Army. The Revolutionary Army has been established for so many years, but they still dare not kill Tianlong people rashly. Killing a celestial dragon will shock the world no less than killing a marine general. Once you kill the celestial dragon, you will completely break up with the master of the world. By then, you will not only be hunted by marine. Hidden behind the world government, the even more terrifying force, the force that has ruled the world for 800 years, will move out. Completely strangle Yi Yu. Yes, only by killing the Tianlong people can I gain your trust in me, right? Yi Yu said lightly. If you kill the Tianlong people, you will become the complete opposite of this world government. For the Revolutionary Army, you will be a target that can be won over and united. Just follow me and witness it, Revolutionary Mr. Xiong. Yi Yu said with a smile. After I prove my position, please send me to Lower Krigana Island. Krigana Island? Tyrant Bear was even more surprised. Squinting his eyes were fixed on the young man in front of him. Krigana Island. On that deserted island, lives Mihawk, the greatest swordsman in this world. When you go to that island, do you want to meet the world's greatest swordsman, Mihawk? Tyrant Bear murmured. Yes, for the upcoming war, I still need to win over the power of the world's greatest swordsman. Yi Yu said lightly. Mihawk has always been aloof, so it's not easy to win him over. But the young man in front of him actually wanted to win over him. That proves that this kid must have some confidence that he can convince the aloof Mihawk. It can be seen that the person in front of you is definitely not an ordinary person. Tyrant Bear smiled slightly. I helped you. I hope your Whitebeard pirates can really defeat that behemoth marine. Tyrant Bear murmured. Xiong looked at Yi Yu, who was walking in front of him and seemed to have no fighting ability, dragging and careless. For a person who is about to be transformed into an unconscious person by Dr. Vegapunk, it is a blessing to be able to meet a character like Yi Yu before being transformed. Bite. Congratulations to host for killing General Akainu. Reward Conquerors 400 points. Congratulations to host Conquerors for breaking through 6,000 and being able to draw Devil Fruit 10 times in a row. The system's pleasant beep sounded. Yi Yu looked at his own panel, showed an excited expression, rubbed his hands, and started the lottery directly. System extraction. Ding. Congratulations to host for getting the Logia frozen fruit. Ding. Unfortunately, the prize is empty. Ding. Unfortunately, the prize is empty. Ding. Congratulations to host, you got the Logia sparkling fruit. Ding. Congratulations to host for getting the Paramecia appearance fruit. Host, Yi Yu. Conqueror's attribute points, 6206. Devil fruit abilities, shock ability, medium, magma ability, advanced, search ability, medium, shining fruit, medium, frozen fruit, medium, appearance fruit, medium. Devil fruit, tanuki fruit, 3 artificial devil fruits, African hyena fruit. Skill, flash, 100 meters, Conqueror's passive defense shield Shinra Tenjing, self-created. Items, healing medicine, ham, burger, coke, red wine, turkey, salad. Yi Yu licked his lips. These are all good things. The devil fruit abilities of the two generals and a look fruit. Although the combat power is not strong, it can be regarded as a relatively convenient fruit. And after my conquerors exceeded 6,000, I felt that my domineering quality had changed again. Now that I have enough conquerors, I can even create another conqueror's defensive shield to protect others. Excited about the reward he had received, Yi Yu patted his head. Oh, I almost forgot, I just hired a handyman. Yi Yu thought of Urki who he had rescued. That's just for cleaning yourself, if you forget, you'll be in big trouble later. So he took the tyrant bear to the place where the strange monk Ulki was. After the battle just now, Ulki was already shocked. He looked in the direction of the battle just now and happened to meet Yi Yu's arrival. Hey, Ulki. It's great that you can stand up. Yi Yu said with a smile when he saw Ulki standing up reluctantly. Werji looked at a picture of Yi Yu who was carefree, with a look of surprise on his face. There was so much fighting noise just now in the direction of Sakaski. How did the benefactor come back safely? And, the one behind the benefactor, I remember it was, Shichibukai Tyrant Bear. How did they meet? Could it be that this carefree young man in front of me is still a celebrity on the sea? Urki, who doesn't read newspapers often, has no impression of Yi Yu, who is the latest to go overseas. Benefactor, where is you? Akainu Sakaski? Have you escaped from him? My benefactor, are you some kind of powerful pirate? Is this the Shichibukai Tyrant Bear? How do you know this big shot? As a newcomer from the Grand Line, Urki was full of curiosity about everything about Yi Yu. He asked Yi Yu one sentence after another with his mouth like a machine gun. Yi Yu touched his head. He originally wanted to find a handyman to save himself some trouble, but now he feels that it is even more troublesome. I am Yoyu, captain of the 0 Division of the Whitebeard Pirates. This is the Tyrant Bear. As for the Sakaski you mentioned, he has been killed by me. You have so many questions, it's really troublesome. Yi Yu said complainingly. I hate answering questions the most. If it weren't for this Urki, he would have worked as a free laborer for 3 years. I am too lazy to answer so many questions from Ulki. Urki felt a series of shocks in his heart, especially when he learned that Sakaski had been killed by Yi Yu. Sakaski, I have really experienced that kind of terrifying combat power. Just one hit. You can destroy your own pirate group of broken monks. It can be said that Akainu caused a great shock to Urki's soul. That kind of terrifying power made Urki feel that no one in this world could defeat Sakaski. But, how long has passed? The careless young man in front of him actually said that he killed Sakaski. Killed that marine monster. Ulki widened his eyes and stared at the young man in front of him. There was no trace of emotion in Yi Yu's eyes, and Urji once suspected that Yi Yu was joking with him. But the serious expression on the side of the tyrant Xiong made Urki know clearly in his heart that everything Yi Yu said just now was true. Captain of the 0 Division of the Whitebeard Pirates. This is not a captain, this is a proper 4 Emperors level. At such a young age, he is already at the 4 Emperors level, and his future prospects are limitless. From now on this sea, Yi Yu's name will resound throughout the world. The strange monk Ulki thought with emotion. Being able to work as a handyman on Yi Yu's ship is a blessing gained through cultivation in 3 lifetimes. You can imagine how cool it will be to follow Captain Yi Yu in the days to come. As for the title of Supernova, since I have seen the power of Sakaski, I have completely understood the world's top combat power. In front of them, I am as weak as an ant. The title of Supernova is like a flower vase to him. It's okay not to want it. Compared to the handyman on Yi Yu's ship, Ulki prefers the title of the latter. The sluggish Ulki came back to his senses and found that Yi Yu and Tyrant Xiong were already far away from him, and hurriedly limped to follow. The benefactor, no, it should be Captain Yi Yu. Wait for me. Ulki gasped from behind. The tyrant bear found the injured Ulki limping behind him and spoke slowly. Let's do this, I will send you directly to the place where the celestial dragons live. Yi Yu was very satisfied after hearing this. Tyrant bear has the ability to shoot people flying to a predetermined location, which is perfect for him. This saves him trouble. After all, Yi Yu is too lazy to walk and doesn't want to leave. Yi Yu directly temporarily cancelled the Conqueror's protection around him. After saying that, the meatball fruit was activated, and Yi Yu was sent into an air bubble, and then the scenery around him moved backward crazily. The next moment, Yi Yu appeared at the slave auction house. In the slave auction house, the three of the celestial dragons Saint Charos, Saint Roswaiter, and Pallas Shalolia have been rescued from coma by Marine using special means. The three of them had angry looks on their faces, and they were angrily scolding Marine who had revived them. Especially Charles Saint, who was holding his golden pistol and aiming it at a Marine next to him. Marine's fingers were trembling with fear, but he still dared not speak in anger. After all, the person in front of him is a descendant of God, a being that not even General Marine can mess with. Charles Luosheng had a runny nose and moved his plump lips. You idiots, a few pirates can't do anything for you, so what use are you? Saint Roswaiter on the side also slowly said, that's enough, I can't stand this place anymore. When I get to Mariajoya, I'll take my time to settle the score with these stupid Marines. After saying that, he left here directly. This also made Charles Luosheng, who just wanted to kill Marine, put down the golden gun in his hand and catch up with his father. Marine, who was pointed at by the golden gun just now, slowly breathed a sigh of relief. He was almost killed by the celestial dragon just now. My own destiny is like an ant in front of the celestial dragons. A privileged celestial dragon kills a seaman first class, but nothing happens. This is society, people are not equal. The three Tianlong people slowly arrived at the slave auction venue, and their mounts were tied with chains at the door. These mounts are all strong humans. In the eyes of the celestial dragons, these humans are born humble and not as noble as a dog. These mounts have collars around their necks to prevent escape and explosions, and there are various iron marks left by the Draco on their bodies. They live without the slightest dignity every day. Just when the three Tianlong people were about to sit on their mounts, a lazy voice came. Hey, Tianlong people, you can't leave yet. I saw three people appearing in the slave auction house, walking towards the Tianlong people. These three are naturally the three pirates, Yi Yu, the tyrant bear, and the bad monk Ulki who were displaced by the power of the bear meatball fruit. At this time, Urki still didn't know the purpose of Yi Yu and the others coming to the slave auction house. With a suspicious look on his face, Captain, what are you doing here? Also, they are Tianlong people. If you stop them, you will get into big trouble. Ulki said seriously. Yi Yu waved his hand, raised the corners of his mouth slightly, and pointed at the Tianlong in front of him. I came here specifically to find them. How could I not stop them? Being pointed at by a mere human, the three celestial dragons immediately became furious. Charles Luosheng's fingers trembled with anger, and he took out the golden pistol in his hand and pointed it at Yi Yu. Asshole! Who do you think you are, just a despicable human being? How dare you point your dirty fingers at me? I now order you to kneel down to me immediately. Charles Luosheng opened his plump lips and said angrily. The strange monk Ulki felt confused. Why did his captain want to provoke these dragons? This would be a big trouble. As for the bear on the side, his glasses reflected a bright light. Does Yi Yu really want to kill the Tianlong people in front of him? He is really a restless guy. He just killed General Marine and came to kill the celestial dragons. How do you feel that, to the ruler, Yi Yu is more dangerous than his boss, the revolutionary Long, who is known as the most vicious criminal in the world? Above the sky, the middle-aged man from the economic news agency who followed Yi Yu all the way had a puzzled expression on his face. Yi Yu killed General Akainu and refused to leave. Why are you looking for the Tianlong people? Ruth on the side showed a surprised expression. They seem to have had a conflict with the Tianlong people. A flash of light flashed in the middle-aged man's eyes, and he actually had a conflict with the ruler of this world, the Celestial Dragon. With Yi Yu's character, he might be able to beat up the Tianlong people, but it's possible. It happened to be the time to contact the headquarters every day, and the middle-aged man directly dialed the number of Morgans at the headquarters of the World Economic News Agency. Morgans was waiting for news from the Sabaody Islands. When he saw the call from the Sabaody Islands branch, he answered the call directly. "Hey, Bet, tell me." Morgans asked expectantly after answering the phone. Bate told Morgans everything about the Sabaody Islands. After hearing the big news about the Sabaody Islands, Morgans immediately froze on the spot. He really didn't expect Yi Yu actually killed General Akainu. This is definitely a big breaking news. Okay. Send me the press release, photos and videos immediately, and I will write it right away. Morgans looked excited. I have been very lucky recently. The more chaotic the world is, the more popular my news agency will be. Wait a minute, there is one more thing I need to report to you on the Sabaody Islands. Bet said mysteriously. Oh. There's something else? Let's talk about it. Morgans was completely interested. Bet cleared her throat and coughed twice. Yi Yu is now in conflict with the Tianlong people, and there will be a big drama next. I plan to continue filming and release the intelligence to you after the conflict is over. In this way, these two pieces of news can be combined and published together, which I believe will shock the world. Can you see it? Bate asked. I heard that Yi Yu not only killed General Akainu, but now also had a conflict with the Tianlong people. This is big news. Morgans was very pleased with the performance of his subordinate Bate. Good. Yes. President Morgans. Bet was extremely excited when he heard that he was about to be promoted. Click. 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 During the confrontation between Yi Yu and the Tianlong people, the sound of various media equipment in the sky was constantly running. Yi Yu frowned and knelt down. I have been in this pirate world for so many years, and others have always knelt down to me. How could anyone dare to order me to kneel down? Yi Yu frowned and looked at the ugly-looking Charles Luo Sheng, who was holding a gold pistol in front of him and had a snot on his face, and smiled scornfully. Haha, kneel down, right? Then you all kneel down. Yi Yu said lightly. After speaking, the Conqueror's domineering energy within his body rose, and a powerful aura emitted from Yi Yu's body. Under Yi Yu's precise control, these Conquerors were just enough to make people kneel, but not enough to make them faint. Under the shroud of Conquerors, Saint Charlos, Saint Roswaiter, and Palace of Carolia, who were celestial dragons, had huge amounts of sweat on their foreheads. This horrible feeling. It's the same feeling as when that mysterious old man appeared before. At this time, the hearts of the three Tianlong people were filled with a strong sense of fear. Their heads were dizzy and they had severe headaches. Their whole bodies seemed to be filled with lead, which made it even more difficult for the Tianlong people who lacked exercise to move at this time. Under Yi Yu's powerful conquerors, the three Tianlong people knelt down with their legs. Sorcery, this is sorcery. Sholulia Palace murmured, her eyes filled with deep fear, her lips trembling. The golden pistol in Charles Luo Sheng's hand fell directly to the ground. It's unforgivable, I would actually kneel down to a pariah. The statue of Charles Luo said angrily after being humiliated. The surrounding Marines who wanted to come over to protect the celestial dragons also fell to their knees facing Yi Yu under the influence of conquerors. Ruth, who was overlooking the shooting scene from the sky, saw such a shocking scene and opened her mouth in shock. It's so shocking. Did so many people surrender collectively? Ruth said in shock. This should be the conquerors that President Morgan mentioned. It's unimaginable that Yi Yu actually made those Tianlong people who thought they were descendants of gods kneel down one after another. The middle-aged man also looked shocked and opened his mouth in shock. This was the first time for all the journalists on the birdhouse to encounter such a shocking scene. Just like the roar of the Lion King, the scene of all beasts surrendering. Shoot! This grand scene must be captured, the middle-aged man in charge of the Sabaody Islands news business said in shock. Since Yi Yu deliberately did not let conquerors affect Erky, who was aside, Erky did not feel the fear in his heart at this time. Even so, just by relying on Yi Yu's momentum, I can feel the power of Captain Yi Yu. Is this Captain Yi Yu who killed Marine General Sakaski? Sure enough, he is so powerful. Just raise your hands and feet, and at will, thousands of people will surrender. How about it, St. Charlos, you are the one kneeling now. Yi Yu said disdainfully. Asshole. Untouchable. Come here, my guard, kill a low-class person for me. Charles Luo Xingxing roared loudly. I want to stand up, but the invisible pressure on my body is always there, and I can't control my body at all. In comparison, St. Charles's father, St. Roswaiter, and Palace Shalolia were much smarter. They had already suffered losses in the Sabaody Islands before. The world was not as safe as they imagined, and not everyone would be willing to give in. And there have been previous examples of Draco being killed by world destroyer Walder. Although the young people in front of them look carefree, they can feel in their hearts that the dangerous aura is no joke. One of you three will die. Facing the roar of St. Charles, Yi Yu looked calm and said calmly. As soon as these words were said, St. Roswaiter and Palace of Shalolia, who had been attacked by conquerors, instantly turned even paler. Both of them began to curse St. Charles in their hearts. Why did this idiot, why did he offend the young man in front of him? He threatened to kill Tianlong people, but his expression was so relaxed and calm. With every gesture of his hand, thousands of people knelt down. This is a more dangerous and terrifying existence than the pirates who made trouble at the auction house. The two of them collapsed to the ground in fear. The pride of the Tianlong people in the past no longer exists. Don't kill me. The two men shouted at the same time with frightened faces. His father and sister actually begged for mercy from an untouchable. St. Charles's nose was dripping with snot, and his face was confused. Father, sister, what's wrong with you? He's just a low-level human being, not as noble as the beast in my villa. The two of them simply ignored Charles Luo Xing's words and lowered their heads one after another. It wasn't because of Conqueror's oppression that they lowered their heads, but because they truly felt fear of Yi Yu in their hearts. Looking at Charles Luo Xing, Yi Yu felt no emotion in his heart, and even wanted to laugh a little. He is really an ignorant fool. Buzz. The previous conqueror's strength increased, and St. Roswaiter and Shalolia Palace trembled all over, had splitting headaches, and finally turned their eyes white and fainted directly on the ground. The invisible force also caused the Marines, who were already unable to support themselves, to instantly fall to the ground and fall into a coma. However, St. Charles suddenly felt relaxed and stood up. This is naturally Yi Yu's special arrangement. Father, sister, what's wrong with you? His energy is of no use to me, I'm better than you, haha. Charles Saint jumped up and down on the ground excitedly. He also picked up the golden pistol that had just fallen to the ground and pointed it at Yi Yu again. Despicable human beings, unforgivable, I will execute you. Why don't you kneel down? Charles Luo Xing roared loudly, with a noble look on his face. The members of the news agency in the sky were all wondering, what is Yi Yu going to do? Why did Charles Luo Xing stand up? Does he have special means to deal with domineering? Everyone was puzzled and focused all the photography materials in their hands on Yi Yu. On the camera, the corner of Yi Yu's mouth rose, and he finally spoke. The reason why I don't suppress you is because only in this way can you truly feel the pain, Charles Luo Sheng. If you are enveloped by conquerors, you will mostly feel fear in your heart, and even the pain will be reduced by half. However, if you don't feel fear and are hurt, it will be 100% pain. After hearing these words, even the usually calm tyrant bear showed a shocked expression. The seemingly approachable and carefree Yi Yu from the Whitebeard Pirates is actually a ferocious beast on the inside. Terrible guy. If anyone unfortunately becomes his enemy, he will definitely die an ugly death. Fortunately, Yi Yu and the Revolutionary Army have a common enemy. If a powerful being like Yi Yu joins Marine, it will undoubtedly be a disaster for the cause of the Revolutionary Army. Even the Shichibukai bear was so shocked, and the strange monk Urki, the handyman on the side, was even more frightened and trembling under Yi Yu's strong courage. Is this the strong man in the New World? He is indeed 100 times more powerful than the guy I met before. No, 100 times less. The characters I met in the first half of the Grand Route are not at the same level as a strong man like Yi Yu. There is no comparison. Charles Luo Sheng still didn't react, his nose was running and his face was confused. What? Make me feel pain. Stupid pariah, I have a golden pistol in my hand. Pang. A gunshot. Charles Rosen pulled the trigger in his own hand. A golden bullet was fired from the barrel of the gun and aimed at Yi Yu's head at extremely high speed. Tyrant Bear looked calm. This level of attack could be completely ignored by Yi Yu. The golden bullet collided 1 meter away from Yi Yu, and then turned directly into gold powder. The strange monk Urgi, who had not seen Yi Yu's skills, looked frightened, his eyes widened, and his heart was shocked. This is the first time I have encountered this unique defense method. Above the sky, relying on Yi Yu's current conquerors, with just a slight thought, 100 flying knives condensed by conquerors appeared, and the knife heads were all aimed at Charles Luo Sheng, like a Shinigami who pronounced life and death. Charles Luo Sheng saw that his golden bullets had no effect on Yi Yu. He looked at the flying knives in the sky again and was completely uneasy. What do you want? Pariah. I am a celestial dragon, I am a descendant of God. Kill me and Marine will definitely execute you. No matter how much Charles Luo Sheng screamed, Yi Yu still had a calm expression on his face, while the tyrant bear and Urki on the side looked at Charles Luo Sheng as if they were looking at a cold corpse. The current tyrant Xiong has no doubt that Yi Yu dares to kill the Tianlong people. Although the contact time was not long, Tyrant Xiong knew very well that if it were Yi Yu, he would definitely do such a thing. Whoosh whoosh. The flying knives in the sky, under Yi Yu's thoughts, cut through the air and flew towards Charles Luo Sheng. The phantoms of flying knives occupied St. Charles's entire field of vision. Charles Luo Sheng's eyes widened. He never imagined that one day, a mere human being would actually do something to him. There was a smell of urine under his crotch, and then a series of Conqueror's flying knives penetrated Charles Saint's body. Bright red blood was flying in the sky, and the severe pain made Charles Luo Sheng roar like his lungs were splitting, but a pig was being killed, and he finally struggled and fell into a pool of blood. Ding! Kill the celestial dragon and get Conqueror's 200 points. Upgrade the flash fruit to a high level. Host, Yi Yu. Conqueror's attribute points, 6406. Devil fruit abilities, shock ability, medium, magma ability, advanced, search ability, medium, shining fruit, advanced, frozen fruit, medium, appearance fruit, medium. Devil fruit, tanuki fruit, 3 artificial devil fruits, African hyena fruit. Skill, flash, 100 meters, Conqueror's passive defense shield Shinra Tenjing, self-created. Items, healing medicine, ham, burger, coke, red wine, turkey, salad. After shaking his hands, Conqueror's was even richer than before. This time, he also upgraded the advanced shining fruit, which made his speed increase exponentially. Yi Yu waved his hand and spoke to Erky beside him in the tone of a boss educating a junior. Did you see that the blood of the celestial dragons is also red, and they will also feel frightened? And, you are free. Yi Yu turned to one side and said to the Tianlong slaves who had been bypassed by his conquerors just now and were trembling with fear. After hearing that they were free, the previously dull and cloudy eyes gradually regained some spirituality. We're free. None of them could believe what was happening today. They had been enslaved by the Tianlong people for a long time, and they had already become insensitive. Yes. From today on, you are free. Go back to your hometown. That's where you should be. After saying that, Yi Yu directly used conquerors to remove the explosive necklaces from the necks of these slaves in an instant, penetrated through conquerors, causing internal damage, and then threw them into the sky. Boom! 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 When the explosion sounded, it was when these slaves regained their new voices. The slaves in front of me believed that they were really free at this moment. One by one, they knelt in front of Yi Yu. They cried with joy after regaining their freedom, kowtowed and cried loudly. We are free. We are free. Thank you so much, my benefactor. Thank you so much, my benefactor. For those who have never lost their freedom, they cannot understand the mood of these slaves at this moment. Those who regain their freedom are tantamount to regaining their new life. Everyone in Yi Yu left one after another, leaving only their backs. Yi Yu turned his back to them and waved his hands. Remember, there is gold under a man's knees. Don't kneel down easily. You are no longer slaves. After Yi Yu left, several slaves said goodbye to each other. I must tell the people in my hometown about this young man's deeds. Yes, there are really people in this world who can resist the celestial dragons. The celestial dragons are not gods. The middle-aged man Bet in the sky was shocked and silent for a long time after seeing the scene of Yi Yu killing the Tianlong people. Looking back at Ruth, she couldn't calm down. Betty's lips trembled. Ruth, that young man named Yi Yu, really killed the descendant of God. Bet looked strange and asked suspiciously. Until now, Bet couldn't believe that someone actually killed the Tianlong people just like this. Ruth on the side was questioned by the middle-aged man, and she came back to her senses from the sluggish state just now, with a serious look on her face. That's right, Chief Bet, the celestial dragon, the high-ranking celestial dragon, is dead. Blood is flowing all over the ground. After the middle-aged man received Ruth's confirmation, he was convinced that the celestial dragon lying on the ground had really been killed. Bet looked shocked and swallowed hard. Gulu. Big news. This is definitely big news. Report to President Morgans immediately. Yi Yu, captain of the Zero Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, you are my lucky star. Now I will become rich. Yi Yu and others, who left the auction house, had now arrived at the coast where Yi Yu's warship had previously docked. The entire sea is still as turbulent as before. Yi Yu looked at the whole sea and said to the tyrant bear beside him, How about it, bear, for a person like me, are you willing to help me? Yi Yu raised the corners of his mouth and asked calmly. As for Tyrant Bear's answer, he had already guessed it. Xiong put down the Bible in his hand and replied solemnly, Of course I am willing, Mr. Yi Yu. Yi Yu looked at the Tyrant Bear in front of him. In this anime, he was very impressed by the bear who was willing to sacrifice himself as a research subject for Vegapunk for the sake of revolution, and who was willing to dedicate himself to body transformation. After thinking for a while, Yi Yu finally spoke, Xiong, are you interested in working with me to deal with Marine next time? A gust of wind blew by, and the bear's clothes fluttered in the wind, as if he was thinking about something, and finally the bear's lips moved slightly. Xiong is happy to fight against Marine with the Whitebeard pirates, but Xiong has more important things to do. His revolutionary army is targeting the larger force behind Marine. Although Yi Yu is very powerful, for the sake of the people all over the world, Xiong still chooses this method that has a greater chance of winning but requires human sacrifice. Mr. Yi Yu, if possible, I really want to spend some time with you. However, I have more important things to do. I have one last piece of advice as a friend. I hope you can listen to it. Although you are very powerful, the power of the celestial dragons is far from just marine. You killed the celestial dragons, so be careful in the future, Mr. Yi Yu. Then farewell, Mr. Yi Yu. Tyrant Xiong murmured. After saying that, Xiong directly used his meatball ability to wrap Yi Yu, Urki, and the huge warship in a huge bear paw-shaped air cover. Pine. With a sound, Yi Yu disappeared directly in front of Tyrant Xiong along with the huge warship. Xiong was left alone, holding a Bible and looking quietly at the sea in front of him. The revolution needs people like Yi Yu, but it also needs victims, and Xiong is a victim who is willing to sacrifice for the revolution. For a long time, Xiong looked at the rough sea in front of him, his eyes flickering, and he slowly spoke in the direction of Yi Yu. I hope you can succeed, Mr. Yi Yu. During the days when Yi Yu was flying on the bear paw air canopy, the whole world became extremely restless. Especially the existence of Yi Yu makes the world more restless. On the Sabaody Islands, after the war, it became quiet, and local residents appeared one after another in the streets. When they saw the killed Tianlong people, they were completely shocked. The celestial dragon is actually dead. Everyone stared with their mouths wide open. A group of Marines dispersed all the crowd watching the excitement around the Draco corpse. Then a Major General hurriedly dialed the number of Marine headquarters. In the Fleet Admiral Office of Marine Headquarters, Sengoku was hurriedly approving documents. General, he moved a lot of materials about the Whitebeard pirates and placed them on Sengoku's desk. When Warring States saw the high pile of materials, he felt overwhelmed, rubbed his temples with his hands, and sighed. After Ace's execution is successfully completed, I can retire with honor. Senghua said tiredly. By the way, where is that guy Garp? Sengoku asked doubtfully. Usually, that guy Garp always stays in his Fleet Admiral office, and he didn't even see him today. Lieutenant General, he frowned. That guy went to the great prison under the sea to visit Ace. Warring States sighed again, and the office was filled with silence. Baby, 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 baby. The ringing of the phone interrupted the quiet atmosphere. Sengoku, who was busy preparing for the upcoming war, saw a call from Marine in the Sabaody Islands and picked up the phone. The Tianlong incident has been dealt with, right? Ask Akainu to return to Marine headquarters as soon as possible. There are still many matters here. Sengoku said hurriedly. There was an uneasy voice on the other end of the phone. Report, Sengoku Fleet Admiral. Admiral Sakaski, he. The lips of the Major General from the Sabaody Islands trembled. Warring States had already vaguely felt a bad premonition. Speak, don't hesitate, tell me, what happened to Sakaski? Was he defeated? Sengoku asked uneasily. Lieutenant General Tsuru and Akiji were around. Kizaru looked at Sengoku. Sakaski was defeated. How could it be possible? Could it be that the four emperors were involved in the draconian incident on the Sabaody Islands? Major General Marine stabilized his emotions, swallowed a mouthful of saliva, Gulu. Finally he spoke slowly. Not just a defeat. Sakaski, General Sakaski, he was killed in battle. Not only Sakaski, but Saint Charlos, the Draco, was also killed. People at the Marine headquarters are currently investigating. I believe it won't take long for the investigation report on this matter to be completed. Boom! The two pieces of news were like a bolt from the blue. They exploded in the heart of the Warring States period. The Warring States glasses reflected a white light, holding the phone bug in his hand, and froze in place, silent for a long time. The surrounding Akiji, Kizaru, and Lieutenant General Tsuru looked at the Sengoku Fleet Admiral with doubts on their faces. What happened to make Senghua, who owned Conquerors and had always been calm, lose his temper? Sengoku Fleet Admiral, are you okay? The Major General of the Sabaody Islands asked after hearing no response from the other end of the phone. Veins popped up on Zenggua's forehead, and he tightly covered his fists, his face even more sad. Who is it? Warring States had completely lost his composure and almost roared. Report, Sengoku Fleet Admiral, is the captain of the Zero Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, Yu. The Major General of the Sabaody Islands answered in horror. Faced with the gaffe of the Supreme Commander of Marine, the Major General was also trembling with fear. After hearing Yu's name, Zhanghua had a serious look on his face, hung up the phone, clenched his fists, and smashed his Fleet Admiral desk hard. Boom! Fleet Admiral's desk collapsed to the ground, and sawdust and materials on the desk were scattered all over the place. Sengoku looked tired and spoke slowly to the confused Lieutenant General he and the two Marine generals beside him. The handling of the Celestial Dragon incident failed. Akainu has been killed. One Celestial Dragon was also killed. That boy Yu did it. Sengoku Fleet Admiral gritted his teeth and said. The entire Fleet Admiral office instantly fell into an atmosphere of silence. The words spoken by warring states were like a depth bomb, completely exploding in everyone's heart. Akainu Sakazuki would be ended by Yu, a young man who just came out of the mountain. And, even the Celestial Dragons were killed. What a vicious pirate. Lieutenant General He's face was filled with shock. That lava boy from Sakazuki, although not very polite, is still very powerful. Kizaru and Akiji also opened their mouths wide and swallowed wildly. With Sakazuki's strength, he was actually killed by Yu. As generals, they are also aware of Sakazuki's strength. It is difficult for them to defeat Sakazuki. Maybe he is the strongest among their three generals. But, even Sakazuki is no match for that boy Yu. Could it be that the captain of the Zero Division of the Whitebeard Pirates really has Emperor-level strength? Thinking of this, everyone's expressions became strange. If this is really the case, facing the most powerful Whitebeard pirates in the world, two Emperor-level warriors will be in charge. This is hard to beat. Marines' winning rate drops again. They naturally know that the one who is suffering the most at this moment is the commander-in-chief of this war, Warring States Fleet Admiral. Before the battle even started, one of his generals was killed by the enemy. Moreover, Akainu was sent by the Sengoku Fleet Admiral. It will definitely be difficult for the five elders to explain. Looking at Sengoku's expression, everyone wanted to go up and say a word of comfort, but they couldn't think of words of comfort. The captain of the Zero Division of the Whitebeard Pirates named Yu was really too tough. You guys go out first, I'll be alone. Warring States rubbed his temples, looked sad, and sighed. Lieutenant General he patted Sengoku on the shoulder. Warring States, no matter what, you have to take care of yourself. Because of the Ace incident, Garp has been in ruins. Sengoku, if you can't hold on, our marine may really be doomed. Lieutenant General he said worriedly. Don't worry, I still understand this. I'm just going to be alone and think about how to report to the five elders next time. Warring States said helplessly. Lieutenant General he, General Akiji, and General Kizaru all cast sympathetic glances at Sengoku Fleet Admiral and left here with heavy steps. After everyone left, Zengguo lowered his head, held his hair tightly with his hands, and fell into thinking. After a while, the survey report on the Sabaody Islands was completed. An intelligence soldier came to the Marine Fleet Admiral office with a report. The analysis report on Yu's abilities has come out. Seeing the arrival of the intelligence soldiers, Warring States had an even greater headache. He waved his hand to the intelligence soldiers and said, "Don't report yet." After saying that, Warring States took out a glass of water, drank 2 sips, calmed down his mood, and then slowly said, "You can tell me now, how did that guy Yu kill Sakaski?" After the report, Xingua's expression became even weirder. Yu, this bastard, actually has the ability to control magma. Although it sounds incredible. But the report from Marine Headquarters is correct. The enemy is a powerful magma ability user, which is not good news for Marine. Moreover, no one knows why Yu possesses Sakaski's fruit ability. Maybe this Yu has other fruit abilities. I know, you go down first. I'm going to report to the 5 elders. After the intelligence agent left, Xingua completely collapsed on his chair. This series of news made his body exhausted to the extreme. Shortly after Marine got the news, the 4 emperors of New World also got the news about Yu in the Sabaody Islands from the World Economic News Agency newspaper. New World, on the Ghost Island, the beast pirates are quietly doing something. A large number of arms are gradually being moved onto the pirate ship at the dock. Boys, we must put an end to the Whitebeard pirates' lair this time. Revenge for Drought Jack. Kaido, the leader, held the mace in his hand and roared with all his strength. Revenge! 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 The minions of the beast's pirates shouted at the top of their lungs one by one. In the chaos, a gifted person with rhinoceros horns was running towards Kaido in a hurry. Report to Lord Kaido, we have the latest information about Yu. The rhinoceros horn giver knelt in front of Kaido and presented a newspaper. When Kaido heard the news about Yu, his eyes were full of coldness, and he grabbed the newspaper in the hands of the giver with one hand. This bastard, actually killed Sakaski. Kaido said ferociously. The epidemic and Yen disasters on the side looked even more surprised. Especially Yen Calamity Gene, who previously threatened to transform into a pterosaur, look for Yu, and avenge Drought Jack. Looking at it now, it's a good thing I didn't go, otherwise, after the 3 disasters, there would only be 1 disaster left. No matter what, in order to avenge Jack, this kid must be killed by me. Not just this kid, I'm going to overthrow the entire Whitebeard pirates this time. Settle old and new scores together. The Whitebeard pirates don't know how to live or die, and dare to offend that giant marine, then don't blame me for being unethical. Kaido said coldly. After getting Yu's location, Kaido was ready to cut off the Whitebeard pirates' escape route after killing Yu, and kill the Whitebeard pirates' lair directly. After saying that, Kaido of the 100 Beasts transformed into a blue dragon and headed towards the Sabaody Islands. Aboard the Red Furs, red-haired Shanks also held the latest newspaper in his hand. Beckman on the side exhaled a burst of smoke and squinted his eyes. What do you think? Shanks. Yu. If it weren't for the recent tense situation, I would really want to visit this boy. It's just a shame that he followed the Whitebeard pirates. In this war, although the Whitebeard pirates have 2 emperor-level masters, and Marine has also lost a general, I still think that the chance of the Whitebeard pirates' defeat is 80%. Red-haired Shanks said regretfully. Beckman put out the cigarette in his hand and looked at the sea. I have the same opinion as you. I'm afraid the Whitebeard pirates' chance of winning is less than 20%. The red-haired man also looked towards the sea. Such a good seedling should not be lost in Marine's hands. The red-haired man said with great emotion. At this time, a seagull flew in the sky, which was specially used by red-haired Shanks to convey information. After reading this, the red-haired Shanks' eyes were full of fighting spirit. Come on, kids, come on. Let's stop Kaido first. On the Sabaody Islands, looking at the celestial dragons being carried away, Katakuri showed a shocked expression. Yu. It's really a pity. It seems that I came a step too late. Katakuri said regretfully. Killing generals and beheading Tianlong people is something that no one else dares to think about. Although he has never met Yu, Katakuri can feel that Yu is a hero. I called Big Mom's phone number and told the ant about the situation here. The ant looked shocked at first, and then regretful. Yi Yu is really a rare genius. What a pity that the Whitebeard pirates were so lucky. They were able to win over a genius like Yi Yu. Katakuri also felt sorry for him. Mom, I'm really sorry, I came a step too late. Otherwise, a genius like this wouldn't have to follow the Whitebeard pirates to die. It's not your fault. The situation is tense. Just come back first, Katakuri. We'll wait and see what happens. Big Mom murmured while chewing something delicious. Yes, Mom. At this time, the Whitebeard pirates have dived into the bottom of the sea and are heading towards the marine headquarters. After receiving the news from the phone bug about Yi Yu's presence in the Sabaody Islands, Whitebeard burst into laughter. Kohaha. Yeyu, you kid, I really saw you right. You little kid who lights the candle, I didn't expect you to have this day. Whitebeard was in a good mood and felt that his condition had improved by 3 points. Marco, Diamond Josie, and Foil Bista all looked shocked. Captain Zero actually killed Akainu and the Celestial Dragons. They don't think they have this kind of courage. Now, they are completely convinced by Yi Yu's position as captain of Zero Division. A strong man of this level only needs to pass the baptism of time, and he will definitely surpass Rocks in the future. Yi Yu. Waiting for you to join us at the marine headquarters and turn this world upside down. Kohahaha. Whitebeard exuded a heroic aura. Roar. 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 The surrounding minions were shouting, facing the impending war. The Whitebeard pirates were not afraid. On the coastline of Kraikana Island, the sea breeze blew, rolling the sea water, causing ripples, and constantly washing the entire beach. Within Yi Yu's field of vision, the outline of a dot-shaped island gradually became clearer. Slowly landed in a forest area above the ground. After arriving, Yi Yu smiled slightly at Urki beside him. Tyrant Bear's ability is really convenient. At this time, Luffy should also have arrived in the land of women. It is estimated that this big boy has just learned the news about Ace's public execution from Nine Snake Island. With that boy Luffy here, Empress Hancock can deal with Marine. If she can win over the world's greatest swordsman, then on Shichibukai's side, except for the scumbag Moria and the transformed giant bear, the fighting power has already been tilted towards itself. This is it. The key to all this lies in the owner of this island, Mihawk, the world's greatest swordsman. Walking on the ground of the island, Yi Yu slightly observed the environment here. There is a slightly purple and rich moisture in the entire sky, and from time to time you can see a large number of cemeteries, a scene of decay. Trees are rooted here, blocking the sunlight in the sky and giving the island a somewhat eerie atmosphere. Yi Yu curled his lips. I really didn't expect Hawkeye to like this kind of place. Although there are no humans to disturb it, it's still too eerie. Although Hawkeye and Yi Yu are both otakus, they have completely different requirements for the environment. Yi Yu prefers the sun-drenched beach. The strange monk Ulki on the side also followed Yi Yu. Yes, Captain, this looks like a kingdom that has declined due to war. As we walked forward, baboons moved quickly in the forest one by one, whining and making strange sounds. Surprisingly, these baboons were all wearing human armor and holding human weapons in their hands. The reason why these baboons behave like this is because this island used to be a place where wars were frequent, and these baboons began to imitate humans, learn the way of human warfare, and became manic one by one. They are also called human imitators. These human imitators suddenly appeared in front of Yi Yu, surrounding Yi Yu and Urki, surrounded by the loud and harsh voices of these baboons. These guys are really noisy. Yi Yu frowned and looked at the human imitators wearing human armor and holding human weapons. Urki had just joined the Yi Yu pirate ship and was eager to show off in front of Yi Yu, so he began to volunteer. Captain Yi Yu, you don't need to do it yourself, just leave these annoying baboons to me. Before Yi Yu could stop him, Erky had already charged forward with his huge pencil weapon. On the other side, in the ghost castle that exuded a cold atmosphere on Krigana Island, the ghost princess Perona wrapped Zoro like a rice dumpling and placed it on the bed. Mihawk, the world's greatest swordsman, is holding a glass of fine red wine in his hand, with his legs crossed, looking at the recruitment order sent to him by Marine Headquarters, with a calm expression on his face. I felt the movement in Perona's room. Roronoa Zoro. Mihawk's mouth curved slightly, but his face remained calm. After drinking a few glasses of red wine, his calm face showed surprise, uncharacteristically. No, another human has entered this island. It's a guy who owns Conquerors. Sensing that it was not Shank's domineering feeling, Mihawk's sharp eyes flashed with a hint of sharpness. He stood up straight, shouldered his supreme sharp sword Black Blade Knight, and walked step by step towards the forest area outside the castle. In the forest area, Erky rushed towards the human imitator. He swung a huge pencil and hit the leading baboon. There was a loud bang. After the dust cleared, a large pit several meters deep appeared on the ground. The strange monk Ulki looked surprised. How could it be possible that this baboon, an animal, could dodge his attack? Next, baboons holding hammers suddenly fell from the sky, imitating Ulki's attack method just now, and hit Ulki's head hard. Erky hurriedly placed his pencil weapon across his chest to resist the heavy blows of these baboons. Boom! 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 Sparks are flying. Pieces of large hammers hit Erky's pencil weapon, making an iron buzzing sound. The powerful force spread, and Erky's feet sank into the earth, and cracks appeared under Erky's feet. Ulki looked surprised. Are these baboons so powerful in combat? After all, I am also a supernova who broke out in the first half of the Grand Line. I am afraid that I am not qualified to deal with the monsters in the New World. Why is it so difficult to fight a baboon? The wound left by Akainu Sakazuki suddenly tore under the huge force, and the severe pain made Erky's hands tremble. Woohoo! The baboons around were jumping and cheering. The baboons that had not taken action before also took the weapons in their hands and rushed towards Ulki while shouting. Ulki's hands were still struggling to resist the oppression of the hammer baboons. Suddenly so many baboons came and he couldn't move at all. He is a supernova, but he can't do anything to a group of baboons. This makes Ulki doubt his life. Just when the surrounding baboons were about to attack Erky, an invisible force appeared. I said, Erky, you are not their opponent yet, so don't show off. Yi Yu said lightly. Immediately afterwards, the movements of the group of baboons stopped suddenly, the weapons on their paws slipped off, and each of them looked frightened as if they had seen some natural enemy. Woo-woo, woo-woo. This group of baboons screamed in fear, their voices were miserable. You guys, I'll spare you for now and don't bother me anymore. Yi Yu was indeed frightened from the bottom of his heart when he saw this group of baboons, so he took back the conquerors he had just released. These baboons seemed to be able to understand Yi Yu's words. After Yi Yu took back conquerors, the group of baboons whined and screamed in fear, dropped their weapons, and fled from here like flying. This made Erky, who was watching the battle, look embarrassed. I finally showed my skills in front of my captain, but in the end, I was slapped in the face by a group of animals. Now Erky only felt that his face was burning. Volunteered to drive away the baboons, and then a supernova couldn't defeat a group of baboons. I'm afraid no one would. Believe me if I told you. In the end, it's up to Captain Yi Yu to take action himself. Looking at the embarrassed Erky, Yi Yu felt funny inside. Let's go, Ulki. From now on, you can train hard on my ship. It's still early for you to gain a foothold in the New World. Yi Yu said in a tone of speech to a junior. Erky was like a child who had made a mistake at this time, lowering his head, and his appearance was very inconsistent with his figure. Now that I know Captain Yi Yu, I will definitely not be so impulsive next time. Erky secretly vowed that he must strengthen his strength in the future. Otherwise, it would be too embarrassing for Captain Yu. Continuing walking, before reaching the ghost castle, a man appeared in front of him, with sharp eyes like an eagle, staring at Erky and Yu. This kind of sharp eyes is very recognizable. It is unmistakable, it is Mihawk, who is known as the world's greatest swordsman. Mihawk currently wears a black top hat, a black beard, a pair of white trousers, and carries a huge shining black knife. This black sword is said to be the most powerful black sword, with a chaotic blade and a T-shaped black sword. I think it's a polite act to trespass into other people's territory without their permission. Mihawk said with narrowed eyes, exuding a faint fighting spirit. The strange monk Ulki was shocked in his heart. Is this the fighting spirit of the world's greatest swordsman? Although Conquerors is not activated, the cold fighting spirit still makes people feel terrified. In this new world, what kind of monsters are they all? Erky, who had just been taught a lesson by the baboons, felt frustrated again. Turning back to Yu was still so calm and breezy at this time, in sharp contrast to himself. Erky lamented in his heart, it's so irritating to compare people to each other. I am already 47 years old, and I just barely became a supernova. I thought that I would reach the peak of my life after arriving in the new world. However, since I arrived at the Sabaody Islands, I have completely understood what it means to be a world outside the world and a world outside the world. Captain Yu, Akainu Sakaski, Tyrant Bear, Pluton Rayleigh, Hawkeye Mihawk. Which one of them doesn't pinch himself to death casually? Even a mere baboon dared to bully me. This bastard is so miserable. But look at his Captain Yu, who is less than 20 years old, annihilating the Blackbeard pirates. Beheading Drought Jack. Terminating General Akainu. Killing the celestial dragons. Which one is not a height that I can't reach in this life? Yu scratched his head. Hawkeye Mihawk, a swordsman, is not easy to get along with. Yu smiled and said, Mihawk, excuse me, I have come to see you specifically for something this time. I didn't bring you any gifts. I'm sorry. Mihawk narrowed his eyes. You are the guy who killed General Akainu, right? If you ask me to join your Whitebeard pirates, I refuse. Mihawk said unceremoniously. For me, Mihawk, it doesn't matter what is good or evil, what I want, is to fight the strongest man in the world. Only in this way can I hone my sword skills. Mihawk said coldly. After hearing this, Yu didn't mind at all, but the corners of his mouth curved slightly. Mihawk, competing with Whitebeard will not do much to improve your swordsmanship. Yu said with a smile. Huh? Mihawk looked at Yu suspiciously. Yu smiled again. If you want to improve your swordsmanship, I can teach you. Not only swordsmanship, I will teach you what kendo is. Arrogant brat. Mihawk didn't believe that this careless Yu, who didn't even have a weapon, knew what kendo was. Just when Mihawk was about to give the eviction order, a powerful force appeared above Yu's head. Mihawk looked up and saw a strange white knife above Yu's head. The tip of the knife was facing him. Mihawk's eyes widened, and he swallowed a gulp of saliva, with a look of shock and excitement on his face. Could this be, the legendary sword intention? You, actually, understand the legendary sword intention of defeating a sword without a sword? Use your will to control the sword. You can defeat the world's swordsman. Mihawk licked his lips and said excitedly. Only after he ascended to the throne of the world's greatest swordsman did he realize that his swordsmanship had come to an end and he could no longer make any progress. As a swordsman who is extremely dedicated to swordsmanship, it means nothing to him to have the reputation of being the best swordsman in the world. But being unable to advance with swordsmanship was more uncomfortable than killing Hawkeye. I thought that I had stood at the top of the world's swordsman, but, the person in front of me actually released a realm of swordsmanship that I had never set foot on. The legendary realm of swordsmanship really exists, and my swordsmanship can actually be improved. Mihawk, I will defeat you like a swordsman and help my Whitebeard pirates in the battle, okay? Yi Yu said with a smile. For a guy like Mihawk who only pursues swordsmanship, this is the best way to win over him. His most effective method. Of course. I hope you can teach me something. With excitement and throbbing, Mihawk slowly pulled out the black knife behind him, his eyes showing extremely bright fighting spirit. The young man in front of me, challenging him is much more interesting than challenging Whitebeard. A sword intent that surpassed him and only appeared in rumors appeared in front of him. At this time, Mihawk was already extremely itchy. Being able to fight against a powerful swordsman like Yi Yu has been Hawkeye's lifelong hope. This is the swordsman's dedication to swordsmanship. A strong fighting spirit emerged from Mihawk's body. Facing a powerful opponent like Yi Yu, from the very beginning, Mihawk had no intention of holding back. Facing such a super swordsman who knows how to use his will to turn his sword into a sword, if you still think about keeping your hand, it is tantamount to committing suicide. This. As a swordsman, Mihawk is still very clear in his heart. Feeling Hawkeye's majestic fighting will, Yi Yu smiled slightly, separated a part of Conqueror's from his body, and stood in front of Urki. The battle between him and Mihawk, I'm afraid, just the aftermath. Urki can't resist it. He finally accepted a handyman, but he can't let his aftermath give him a blow. Shocked to death. Urki, feeling the fighting spirit of two peerless warriors at such a close distance, felt his throat dry and swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Thank you. Thank you. Captain Yi Yu. You are so powerful. Ulki said with a shocked expression. After protecting Urki, the giant sword on Yi Yu's head began to frantically absorb the conquerors in Yi Yu's body. For the swordsman, this attack method is called intention, and it is the swordsman's most powerful attack method. For Yi Yu, this is just one of his conqueror's transformations. My own conquerors can transform everything in this world. The giant sword is just one of them. With Yi Yu and Mihawk at the center, two powerful forces have gathered together. Because of these two forces, the entire Krigana Island became violently windy, and even the sea around the island became majestic and turbulent, constantly scouring the coast of the island. The surrounding baboons were wailing and fleeing in all directions, and the birds on the island were flying away from the island in groups. Mihawk, I am about to take action. Yi Yu said calmly. Come on, Yi Yu, I've been waiting for this day for a long time. Let me see what real swordsmanship is. Mihawk's eyes showed no fear, but a look of joy and anticipation. As a swordsman, even if he died from Yi Yu's blow, it was still an honor. Gathered above his head, Conqueror's rich, transformed giant sword finally waved. The surrounding space seemed to explode, and a powerful, lightning-like slash appeared. Boom boom boom. With a diameter of more than a kilometer, a bright and sharp sword appeared, mixed with the power to destroy everything, flying towards Mihawk, the world's greatest swordsman, at great speed. Just the strong wind brought by this slash caused all the trees in the surrounding woods to be uprooted. Mihawk, we will decide the outcome with one strike. Yi Yu said. For the world's greatest swordsman like Mihawk, holding back, would be an insult to him. Yi Yu plans to directly use his own strength to determine the outcome with one strike. Mihawk's eyes flashed with gleam, and he spoke enthusiastically, okay. One strike will determine the outcome. This is the battle between real swordsmen. 9 mountains and 8 seas form one world, and thousands of worlds are gathered together to form one. The small 1,000 worlds, I have a knife, and the one without self is the great 1,000 world. One big 1,000 worlds. Facing such a terrifying blow from Yi Yu, Mihawk muttered something and directly sent his strongest blow. Mihawk, holding the black knife tightly with both hands, slashed hard at the 1,000-meter slashing wave in the sky. A huge black slash appeared, like thunder, carrying a Shinigami aura, and collided with Yi Yu's slash. Two powerful forces collide. Boom boom boom. With Yi Yu and Hawkeye right in the center of Mihawk, there was a loud noise, like a nuclear bomb exploding. Powerful air waves are constantly expanding in the ripples of the atmosphere. The aftermath of the majestic momentum spreads to the surroundings with the two as the center. Even the earth began to collapse, huge force spread, and cracks appeared on Krigana Island. The forest on the island was swept by the air waves, and most of the trees were uprooted. The baboons on the island all fled into the caves at the mountain pass, holding their heads and huddled together. Looking at this doomsday scene, Ulki's eyes were filled with shock, his mouth opened wide, and his lips trembled with excitement. Is this terrifying power the strength of Captain Yi Yu? It's really scary. In front of this kind of power, I, Urki, feel like an ant. This is the power of God. Human beings simply cannot achieve this situation. Urki looked at Captain Yi Yu with admiring eyes and said. Two huge slashes were intertwined in the sky. Yi Yu's white slash was only deadlocked for a second, and it was like a balloon exploding in the sky, quickly sweeping around. As for Mihawk's black slash, after a stalemate for a second, he was instantly suppressed by the white slash and was swallowed up in an instant. After the stalemate, the powerful aftermath rushed towards Mihawk quickly. Mihawk's face was solemn, and the bright slashing light almost occupied his entire field of vision. Such a fast speed, it's impossible to dodge. Mihawk was shocked in his heart. Will die. But I will die with no regrets if I can fight against a powerful super swordsman like Yi Yu. Is this the sword's intention? When my swordsmanship reaches its end, it should develop in this direction. If you give me a few more years to develop in this direction, my swordsmanship will definitely break through the bottleneck. Mihawk closed his eyes. If there is an afterlife, he must reach that state. Boom! A powerful slash struck behind Mihawk, and the entire island trembled. Even the sea was stirred up, like a tsunami erupting, with tens of meters of waves rushing into the island. Under Yi Yu's terrifying attack, Krigana Island was forcibly split into two. Mihawk opened his eyes, and his eyes were shocked by the scene where the sky and the earth were collapsing around him, as if the end of the world was coming, but he was unscathed. Needless to say, it must be the young man in front of me who changed the trajectory of the attack at the critical moment. Yi Yu still had a smile on his face. Mihawk was used to rebel against Marine. If he was killed like this, wouldn't his trip have been in vain? How about it, Mihawk, I won this blow. I hope you can abide by the agreement between you and me. Yi Yu said calmly. Mihawk looked at Yi Yu in front of him, his eyes were shocked. Thanks to the young man in front of him, he finally understood the last link of the sword. At such a young age, he actually has such terrifying power. Is this true genius? Compared with the young man in front of me, my understanding of swordsmanship and the so-called swordsmanship genius are completely inadequate. You won, great swordsman Yi Yu. I, Mihawk, the Eagle Eye, am convinced that I lost. It was you who made me experience the joy of being a swordsman again. The promise, I will naturally abide by it. Hawkeye said respectfully to Yi Yu as he performed the etiquette between swordsmen. Yi Yu curled up the corner of his mouth. To deal with a character like Mihawk, defeating him is the best way. Everything finally calmed down, and Yi Yu also took back the Conqueror's shield beside Urki. Ulki was still immersed in deep shock. I couldn't help but swallowed my saliva, and the corners of my mouth trembled. My dear, is this a battle between the two strongest swordsmen? Looking around, the entire island is full of cracks and devastation. Most of the forest area has been eroded, leaving only bare tree stumps. Especially Captain Yi Yu's terrifying blow, which actually cut the entire island in half. This kind of terrifying power, in Ulki's heart, he always felt that only God could achieve such a state. The Yi in front of me must be the reincarnation of God. Just when Erky's eyes fixed on Yi with infinite admiration, Yi raised the corners of his mouth and began to admire his own panel. Congratulations to host, for defeating Mihawk, the world's greatest swordsman, and rewarded with Conqueror's 400 points. Upgrade the shock fruit ability to advanced level. Upgrade the frozen fruit to advanced level. Host, Yi. Conqueror's attribute points, 6806. Devil fruit abilities, shock ability, advanced, magma ability, advanced, search ability, medium, flash ability, advanced, freeze ability, advanced, appearance ability, medium. Devil fruit, tanuki fruit, 3 artificial devil fruits, African hyena fruit. Skill, flash, 100 meters, Conqueror's passive defense shield Shinra Tenjing, self-created. Items, healing medicine, ham, burger, coke, red wine, turkey, salad. I have become stronger again. My current self, Conqueror's, immediately exceeded 7,000, and I also upgraded to the strongest paramecia. The fruit abilities of the 3 generals have all been upgraded to advanced levels. Now I am stronger. Facing Mihawk's swordsman etiquette, Yi smiled and spoke. Mihawk, stop pretending. Do you have any good wine or meat? I'm very hungry now. Mihawk was stunned for a moment, then smiled. Fortunately, my castle is far away from here, and the protection measures are in place, so it should not be harmed. There is good red wine in it. Exactly, I am very much looking forward to discussing swordsmanship with Mr. Yi. When Mihawk talked about swordsmanship, his eyes showed bright spots of light. Arriving at Mihawk's castle, the 2 of them each held a glass of red wine, tasted the wine, sat across from each other, and began to discuss the art of swordsmanship. Yi is a time traveler, so he doesn't know anything about swordsmanship. He immediately started making nonsense, directly telling Mihawk all the tricks in the martial arts world that he had watched during his lifetime. Duga 9 swords, 10,000 swords returning to the sect, 23 swords, 6 meridians divine sword. After hearing the sword moves from the martial arts world described by Yi to him, Mihawk instantly became very interested and his eyes were filled with bright light. With an ecstatic expression on his face, he sat upright and listened seriously to Yi's nonsense. Ulki on the side pricked up his ears and began to listen, but in the end he found that the conversation between Mihawk and Captain Yi was too profound. It's like listening to a book from heaven, and I can't understand it at all. Now Erky is completely shocked in his heart. He is not even close to the realm of a truly strong person. Perona, who was peeking in the bedroom, looked shocked. Perona's eyes widened and her mouth opened wide. Mihawk, that arrogant guy, when did he become so humble? Actually listening to a young man talk seriously. Mihawk, who had always been silent, completely changed his previous aloof image, and actually started talking to this young man with great interest. Could it be that the violent shaking of the entire island just now was caused by the young man in front of me? If that terrifying shock was not a natural disaster but man-made, how could it feel more terrifying than Mihawk's slash? Mihawk, you should understand now. This is the essence of swordsmanship. There is a way to win without a move. No need for a sword, just mind. Control your sword intention as you wish. This is the highest state of swordsmanship. At that level, swordsmanship has broken away from the category of art and has been directly promoted to the realm of Tao. Yi said nonsensically while sipping a glass of fine wine. Eagle Eyes Mihawk's eyes shine brightly. He gained so much today. After listening to Yi's explanation of swordsmanship, Mihawk truly realized his own insignificance. In terms of swordsmanship knowledge, facing Yi is like a baby facing a giant. Before, I blamed the fact that my swordsmanship had come to an end because I could not improve my swordsmanship. Looking at it now, how ignorant it is. Ever since I made friends with Yi today, I realized that I was still far, far away from the end of the sword. There is still the possibility of progress. You are absolutely right. There are too few swordsmen like you who are willing to teach others their swordsmanship skills. Mihawk said with great excitement. As a great swordsman, he has seen countless swordsman masters. Just too rubbish swordsmanship, each of them is precious. There are really not many swordsmen like Yu who directly tell others the secret of their strongest swordsmanship. Seeing Mihawk's reaction, Yu nodded with satisfaction, snickering in his heart. It seems that the martial arts novels I read before were not in vain, and I have completely deceived Mihawk, a swordsman. I don't know any sword moves, I just rely on the conquerors to transform into a sword, and then rely on my majestic conquerors to force the attack. It's nothing. After all, I'm here to win over you. It's okay to discuss the art of swordsmanship. Yu waved his hand and said calmly. Mihawk stood up with a serious expression. Even if it was to win over him, as a swordsman, Yiyu's courage to share his knowledge of the sword was really admirable. Walking to Yiyu's side, Mihawk directly handed the Shichibukai summons order sent to him by Marine into Yiyu's hands. Holding Mihawk's summons, Yiyu's eyes narrowed into a thin line. Marine, these cunning guys, have roped in all the forces they can for this war. Regarding Mihawk's summons order, Marine did not write the words, force summons, like it did with Jinbei. Mihawk has his own right to choose, and the Marine government also issued a summons to Hawkeye in a semi-pleading tone. Due to Hawkeye's powerful strength and special identity, unlike ordinary Shichibukai, Mihawk does not even have a bounty on his head and has his own freedom in the pirate world. Whether or not to help Marine depends entirely on Mihawk's own mood. Even if he refuses the summons, Marine will not embarrass Mihawk. Do you want to accept my summons or not? Mihawk asked carefully. If you accept, you will rebel against Marine. If you don't accept, it will be more direct. Join Yiyu's side directly and join forces with the Whitebeard pirates to fight against Marine. As the world's greatest swordsman, Mihawk does not analyze the situation like Heavenly Yiksha Doflamingo. Mihawk does things based on his own mood. This has always been the case. Yiyu shook the wine glass, took a sip of red wine, and raised the corners of his mouth slightly. Of course, join Marine. Wouldn't it be more exciting to rebel when the war begins? Yiyu said with a smile. Now Yiyu can already imagine the wonderful expression on the Buddha's Sengoku Fleet Admiral's face when he saw that most of the Shichibukai he had worked so hard to recruit turned against him in the upcoming Dingshan War. After hearing this, Mihawk also smiled. Since Yiyu wanted him to suddenly rebel during the war, he would do what Yiyu said. The young man in front of him helped him break through the bottleneck of swordsmanship for more than 10 years. What's the point of fighting the entire Marine for him? Mihawk looked at the young man in front of him, his heart throbbing. The sea in the future will look more and more interesting. Okay. I'll go to Marine headquarters right away. Mihawk nodded and said. Mihawk also thought about the reason for such a big commotion on his island. Anyway, his island is filled with thick purple fog all year round, and outsiders know that this is Mihawk's territory, and no one dares to approach it. The outside world has no way of knowing what is going on inside his territory. My reason is that I practice swordsmanship on a whim. This reason may have zero credibility to others. But for Mihawk, no one would doubt it. After bidding farewell to Yiyu and Perona on the island, Mihawk took a bamboo raft directly towards the Marine headquarters. This small raft is manned by Mihawk alone. There are not many people who dare to stop him in the New World. In order to prevent Marine from being suspicious of Mihawk, Yiyu decided to let Mihawk go first and separate himself from Mihawk. Yiyu boarded his warship directly, lay down on the deck, and basked in the sun on the warship. There's no rush, there's still some time before Ace's execution, let's rest for an hour. Let Mihawk arrive first to attend the Shichibukai meeting. Yiyu said lazily while basking in the sun. Ulki, go and prepare some delicious food for me to pass the time. Now Yi Yu, since having a little brother Ulki, is too lazy to even bother to get things. After Werji heard this, he excitedly brought something to Yi Yu. For Urki, it is his greatest honor to serve Yi Yu. So Yi Yu bathed in the sunshine, filled the deck with food and wine, and began to enjoy life. It would be too hard not to eat something and bask in the sun at such a boring time. While Yi Yu was basking in the sun, dark clouds suddenly appeared in the sky, followed by lightning and thunder in the sky, and even some purple lightning, which kept hitting the sea. Urki had just finished cleaning the deck, looked at the sky, and spoke to Yi Yu. This damn weather can change at any time. Captain Yi Yu, please go into the dormitory. Yi Yu looked at the sky and narrowed his eyes. When the heavy rain in the sky was about to reach Yi Yu, it was directly blocked by an invisible barrier and flowed onto the deck along the barrier. I don't think there's anything we can do if we enter the dormitory. It seems that there is a guy who wants to come to me for revenge. Yi Yu said calmly with the corners of his mouth raised slightly. Just now, Yi Yu activated his fruit ability and discovered that due north, a huge green dragon was flying towards his direction. In the world of One Piece, there is only one person who can transform into a blue dragon. Kaido, the beast known as the strongest creature. I am worried about not being able to pass the time. Kaido of all beasts is so anxious to give me experience. It's really considerate. Revenge? Ulki looked confused. After a while, a huge creature appeared due to the north. Urki's scalp was numb with fright, and his lips began to tremble. Dragon, that's a dragon. The entire sky turned into a majestic heavy rain in an instant, purple lightning struck from the sky, and the strong wind mixed with the heavy rain blew wantonly. The huge body that covered the sky and sun was suspended above the head of Yi Yu's warship, and his eyes like copper bells were staring at Yi Yu on the deck of the warship. Don't be angry and be powerful, a powerful coercion came over instantly. Urki swallowed. His captain, what kind of physique is he? His opponents every day are either generals, the world's best swordsmen, or the four emperors. If you follow a captain like this, you have to be careful of being frightened too much and getting a heart attack. The dragon in the sky finally spoke. Lousy finally caught up, asshole. I made lousy Sabaedes Islands miss the mark. Is it you, the brat, who killed Drought Jack? A huge dragon's head was tilted, with disdain in his eyes. No matter how Ren Kaiduo looked at the young man in front of him, he really couldn't tell that such a careless guy could actually kill his own henchman. Yi Yu finally spoke. That's right, I killed that idiot Jack, and I specially made his ivory into a handicraft. Do you appreciate it? Yi Yu said with a smile, not looking down on Kaido of the beasts at all. What? The giant dragon in the sky widened his eyes and glared angrily with his bell-like eyes. He couldn't believe that Yi Yu dared to speak in this tone to his immortal Kaido. Now that it was confirmed that it was Yi Yu, Kaido had no intention of saying anything else. The huge dragon's mouth opened, revealing its fangs, with a ferocious look on its face. Dragon's breath of heat. Qinglong's open mouth released a stream of hot energy. In just an instant, the scorching flames came to Yi Yu. This terrifying power is said to be able to easily destroy a mountain. Yi Yu smiled slightly. Are all the guys in the beast pirates reckless? After closing his eyes, an invisible Conqueror's defensive shield appeared in the sky. After Kaido's heat breath reached the Conqueror's shield, he was unable to move forward at all. Urki, who was on the deck, was also put on defense. He could see how powerful the thermal energy was. Even the moisture in the surrounding air was evaporated, but he couldn't move forward at all. Hey, Kaido, you are really a grumpy guy. How about we go to the island to fight? I can't use my hands and feet here. Yi Yu pointed to the Cry Kana island aside and said lightly. It was too troublesome to fight on a warship and have to watch his own warship, so Yi Yu decided to divert the trouble to Cry Kana island. Anyway, this island was already destroyed by myself, so if I destroy it again, it won't be a big deal. But this was very painful for Mihawk, Yu snickered inwardly. At worst, I'll tell that guy Mihawk a few more tricks. I believe that Mihawk, that swordsman, will forgive me. The green dragon in the sky grinned widely and looked at Yu with contempt. You can choose any position. Lousy is invincible in a duel. Ho ho. Looking at the clock on the ship, Yu showed a sympathetic expression to Kaido. He still had 20 minutes to set off. This period of time was enough for Kaido to suffer. Arriving on the island, Kaido spoke again. Just now, you kid, you were able to withstand my heat breath. It seems that you still have some strength. No wonder you were able to defeat Sakazuki, but, you must have been exhausted at the time, Kaido said with his dragon head tilted and eyes as big as copper bells staring at Yu. Yu gave Kaido an idiot look. Kaido didn't care. Boy. The reason why Sakazuki failed is because of your barrier fruit. Unfortunately, one of my collaborators in Wano country has this fruit ability among his subordinates. Of course, I also know the weakness of this devil fruit's ability. Kaido said proudly. Yu finally understood, and together with Kaido, he thought that the reason why he could defeat Sakazuki was because he possessed the barrier fruit. No wonder, Kaido, this guy, is still so confident in facing himself after knowing that he defeated Sakazuki. Looking at it this way, Kaido is a little smarter than Drought Jack. But, it's a pity that I am a bug in the world of pirates. You will not succeed if you try to predict yourself with an ordinary person's mentality. Yu raised the corners of his mouth slightly, looked up at the giant dragon in the sky, and spoke slowly. Kaido, you will know soon if it is a barrier fruit. A guy who has been arrested 18 times should stop yelling at me. Still invincible in a single fight? Others believe it, but I don't believe it. Whitebeard, I singled you out and beat you so many times, you think I don't know? Even the specific details of your beating, Whitebeard told me. Yu faced Kaido in the sky, smiling. Said. It has to be said that Yu is very good at how to anger someone. After Kaido heard Yu's words, veins popped out on the dragon's head. This damn brat really couldn't open any pot. Roar. A dragon roared, and Kaido, whose blood pressure was high, launched another attack on Yu. Tornado. With a dragon roar, countless thunder and lightning were released in the sky, striking towards Yu one after another. Immediately afterwards, Kaido's dragon body rotated like a top, and a strong wind of magnitude 10 suddenly blew across the entire island. The warships on the coast swayed left and right. Urki hurriedly moved the warship tightly to the coast to prevent the warship from being blown away by the strong wind. Run! What a powerful force, but facing the captain, Kaido may suffer a big loss. Ulki showed a confident look. Ever since Urki witnessed the battle between Captain Yu and Mihawk, the world's greatest swordsman, Urki has come to believe that the world simply cannot compete with Yu. Yu is the reincarnation of God. Tornadoes appeared one after another, devouring the surroundings, and were mixed with terrifying wind blades. The strong wind pressure friction in the air produced strange sounds. The terrain around Yu suddenly changed, and huge cracks appeared after being cut. However, no matter how Kaido attacks or how the surrounding terrain changes, Yu remains unmoved. Let me tell you, Kaido, you underestimate me too much. This kind of attack will not work on me at all. Yu said lightly. The giant dragon in the sky didn't hesitate for a moment, its eyes were cold. Boy, do you think I don't know that with the barrier fruit, you have to maintain a certain posture after releasing your ability? After speaking, the giant dragon in the sky faced Yu and released streams of dragon heat. Ha ha ha. With the barrier fruit, you are very effective against physical attacks, but against my elemental attacks, the defensive effect is not so good. It turns out that Kaido, who knows about the barrier fruit, has already formulated a plan against Yu. First, release the wind blade continuously, allowing Yu to spend a lot of energy to resist the wind blade. Moreover, Yu can only maintain this one action. Once he changes his movements, he will be injured by his own wind blade. My own heat breath had already hit my face before the tornado blade was over. And Yiyu's barrier posture to resist the wind blade and his own heat breath is definitely not perfect. This is only the first step. The most important thing is that Kaido's continuous heat breath can heat Yiyu's barrier. Faced with his constant heat, Yiyu had only two options to choose from. One is to hide behind the barrier fruit, but as the temperature of the barrier rises, Yiyu will be roasted alive. The other is to give up your own barrier, but that means facing your own endless attacks. No matter which method the boy in front of me chooses, he will always be dead. The hot breath in the sky was like a fire dragon, constantly burning the Conqueror's defensive shield beside Yiyu. How's it going, boy? Are you about to be roasted, ha ha ha. The giant dragon in the sky laughed ferociously twice, and the next moment, streams of heat breath were released again. Even the sea nearby evaporated a large amount of water vapor because of this hot energy, and the entire Krigana island was like a furnace. Yiyu felt the heat wave around him and nodded slightly. Although this guy Kaido looks big and thick, he still has a pretty good brain. If a blind cat really encounters a dead mouse, the temperature around him will indeed rise. This kind of attack method can be easily solved through Conquerors, which is to use your own Conquerors to resist and resolve it. However, this has become a war of attrition. With Yiyu's current abundance of Conquerors, 10 Kaidos can be killed. But I still have something to do, so I can't spend a whole day and night here with Kaido. But there is a simpler solution. Yiyu directly opened his Conqueror's defensive shield, feeling the heat wave hitting his face, and smiled slightly. Kaido in the sky thought Yiyu had given up resistance. A strange smile appeared in the sky. How about it, kid? I thought you could hold on for a little longer, but you won't be able to do it so soon. This is what happens if you offend our beast's pirates. Originally, I thought you were a talented person, so I was willing to take you in. However, you violated the taboos of our beast's pirates. You should never should have killed Drought Jack. I must avenge this revenge. Yiyu blocked his ears with his hands. Are all the people in the pirate world so chatty? The next moment, Yiyu stretched out his hands and made a gesture. Waves of hot breath came to Yiyu's side and disappeared without a trace in an instant. Kaido in the sky suddenly lost his composure and looked confused. How is this possible? My heat breath disappeared. Kaido said suspiciously. Impossible. This is impossible. Kaido continued to roar, and then released 3 hot breaths in one breath, and the surrounding air was scorched and unreal. 3 balls of scorching flames, as fast as thunder, arrived at Yiyu's side in an instant. After releasing 3 hot breaths in a row, Kaido felt that he was very tired. We should be able to succeed this time, Kaido thought while panting. Looking at the 3 hot breaths in the sky, Yiyu showed a look of disdain. This Kaido is really a deadbeat. Turning on the magma ability in his body, the 3 hot breaths disappeared again. You know, the rock fruit is the superior fruit of the burning fruit. It can even control the hot magma, and ordinary flames cannot cause harm to itself. The development level of his rock berries is 1 level higher than that of Akainu. Kaido's dragon breath has been directly controlled by Yiyu and transformed into the energy in his body. You kid, why do you control my dragon's breath? Kaido was confused again. Could it be that the kid in front of me has 2 devil fruit powers? But, it's impossible. One person will die if he eats 2 devil fruits. Faced with Kaido's confusion, Yiyu didn't bother to explain. Kaido looked at Kaido in the sky with a joking look on his face. Now, it's my turn to attack, Kaido. Directly releasing the Conquerors in his body, he transformed into 100 flying knives. I wonder if Kaido can withstand this move of killing the celestial dragon. Under Yi Yu's thoughts, the invisible flying knives were all aimed at the behemoth in the sky and launched. In the sky, because of these flying knives, the entire sky seemed to be cut apart, and the air became elusive. Feeling the pressure on his face, Kaido's eyes suddenly widened. What a weird attack method. Too fast. There is no time to escape. The surprised Kaido didn't have time to think too much, so he curled up into a ball to protect the dragon's head, exposing his dragon scales. The green dragon form under the Yu fruit, with layers of dragon scales, is the most natural and powerful defense method in this world. Kaido is confident and can resist Yi Yu's attack with his blue dragon form. The first flying knife had already taken the lead in attacking Kaido's dragon body. A strong feeling of pain came. Sizzle. A trace of dragon's blood appeared in the sky, swaying in the sky and throwing a strange arc in the air. Kaido curled up on the dragon's head in the middle of the dragon's body, with an exaggerated expression. Roar. A tragic dragon roar sounded, and Kaido had a strange look on his face. How is that possible? Your own defense is the most powerful existence in the world. Even if he was sentenced to death, the execution failed in the end because his defense was too strong. Even if you are hanged, the chains will be broken, even if you are put on the guillotine will be shattered, even if you are stabbed with a spear, the spear will break. But, what's going on with this intense pain? Has the wound gone deep into the bone marrow? Kaido thought with shock in his heart. The next moment, the second knife struck again, and the same pain came, and Kaido couldn't help but groan. The third knife, the fourth knife, the fifth knife, until the 100th knife, the pain came one after another, making Kaido the beast. It was so painful that I almost fainted on the spot. Kaido, who transformed into a blue dragon, instantly became covered in blood. Except for his head, which was protected by his body, no other part was intact. The entire body of the dragon has deep visible bone scars everywhere. The tragic roar of the dragon also resounded throughout the whole world. It echoed for a long time. Urki, who was on the coast, looked at the bloody monster in the sky with his eyes wide and bloodshot, and opened his mouth in shock. His lips trembled. It's scary, it's too scary. Is this Captain Yi Yu's attack method? Even a 4 Emperors level player will end up like this when facing Captain Yi Yu. Whoever becomes an enemy of Captain Yi Yu will end up in a very ugly situation. At this time, members of the World Economic News Agency who were heading to the Marine headquarters in the sky to prepare to film the war stopped moving forward. The leading man with glasses observed this scene with a telescope, his fingers trembled in shock and his lips wriggled. You have to, tell Lord Morgans this news, it's scary, it's too scary. Kaido, who is known as the strongest defense and invincible in single combat, was actually beaten like this by a young man. Called the president's phone number. Morgans answered the phone at the moment. Didn't I say that we don't have to worry about the upcoming war? Morgans showed an impatient look. The next moment, Morgans was immediately slapped in the face. What? What did you say? For Emperor's Kaido was beaten until he was covered in blood? The people who were working with Morgans around him turned their heads one after another with curiosity on their faces after hearing Morgans' shout. That's Hayakushu Kaido. The 4 Emperors. The most powerful creature. Even if Marine is executed and killed, he can't kill him. Who on earth has such great ability to beat Kaido into a bloody man? A voice came from Morgan's side again, clarifying the confusion for those around him. Yi Yu. It's Yi Yu again. How long did he kill General Sakazuki before he went to fuck Kaido? Morgan said excitedly. Last time, I published the news that Yi Yu killed the General Sakazuki, and it made me more than 10 billion belly. Now Yi Yu has almost become a cash cow for him. I really didn't expect that he would be given such breaking news now. Don't worry about the war. You will fully cooperate in filming the battle between Yi Yu and Kaido. Morgan said excitedly. After receiving the order from President Morgans, the middle-aged man with glasses pointed his camera lens at Yi Yu, and it was a close-up. Yi Yu on the battlefield still looked like a salty fish. "How's it going, Kaido? Are you okay with my attack?" Yi Yu said with a smile on his face, his eyes full of teasing. "Which creature is the strongest, which has the strongest defense, and is invincible in single combat? If you challenge yourself to a duel, don't you beat the shit out of Kaido?" Kaido in the sky, after enduring the last knife, finally couldn't bear it anymore and turned into a normal human form. Although the blue dragon form has strong defensive power, it is a living target because of its huge size. If the boy in front of me impromptu fires 100 flying knives at him, will he not be stabbed to death? If that were really the case, and he would bleed to death after being stabbed by a kid with 100 flying knives, I would probably be one of the 4 emperors who died in the most miserable way in the world. A king of the sea was stabbed to death by a young man who had just become famous. No one would believe this. Kaido, who transformed into a human form, collapsed directly on the ground, holding on to his mace and breathing heavily. "Call! Call!" Kaido's chest heaved violently. Observing the wounds on his body, he was shocked. Fortunately, his recovery ability was strong. The blood that had flowed before had solidified, but there were once again 100 scars left on his body. This life cannot be erased. Yi Yu also showed a slightly surprised look. Although he said he wanted to play with Kaido to kill time and didn't use his full strength, he had to know that his Conqueror's was almost 7,000 points. In this case, Kaido did not fall down, but sat on the ground and quickly recovered from his wounds. His defense was still amazing. "That's good, Kaido. He didn't even fall down," Yi Yu said with a smile as he looked at Kaido's wounds where white gas was coming out and quickly fusing. This sentence sounded particularly harsh to Kaido. "Boy, don't be arrogant. Just now you released such a huge power without killing me, and now it's my turn to fight back," Kaido said angrily. "It's just..." Kaido didn't attack for a long time, and was still breathing heavily. "It's okay, recover slowly, there is still plenty of time. I can give you 5 minutes. Yi Yu said lightly with the corner of his mouth raised slightly. After Kaido heard this, his face turned red and he became angry with embarrassment. This boy Yi Yu is really too arrogant and arrogant. 5 minutes of recovery time is completely enough for my immortal Kaido. Kaido has made up his mind to transform directly into his strongest form, the Dragon Man, when his 5 minutes are up. By then, whether it is strength, speed, or agility, he will have reached another level. At that time, Yi Yu would be caught off guard. Yi Yu, although you are very powerful, I have to say that your combat experience is too weak. Kaido of the 100 Beasts squinted his eyes and thought coldly. Ulki, who was on the shoreline deck, had already taken out his binoculars and began to observe Captain Yi Yu's battle with a look of suspicion on his face. What's going on? Why doesn't Captain Yi Yu take action? Urki was very puzzled by this. If you give a despicable but powerful guy like Hyakuju Kaido a chance, he will most likely be tricked. Urki had heard that in the country of Wano, Kaido of all beasts killed Kazuki Oden in despicable ways. Urki began to worry about Yi Yu's safety, and kept a close eye on Kaido's every move with a telescope. Above the sky, a member of the World Economic News, whose blickle glasses reflected a white light, also looked confused. Yi Yu, could it be that he wanted to give Baiju Kaiduo a chance? Facing an opponent at the level of the 4 emperors, give him a chance, but test him like crazy on the edge of danger. Yi Yu is a brave artist, but he doesn't care about so many things. What Yi Yu was thinking was that if he killed Kaido like this, he would be bored again for the rest of the time. On the other side, Kaido, the beast, used these 5 minutes to frantically absorb the oxygen around him. Users with animal-type fruit abilities have amazing recovery powers, and since Kaido is a user with abilities in the form of a blue dragon, their recovery power is even 10 times faster than that of ordinary animal-type devil fruit users. With almost every breath, Kaido regains a huge amount of physical strength. Even the blood in the body begins to be regenerated. This is Kaido's physique. It is this terrifying physique that allows Kaido to survive so many duels. Even if you are an ultimate opponent like Whitebeard, your enemy can only defeat you, but you can never kill yourself. This weird atmosphere lasted for 5 minutes. Urki and the members of the World Economic News Agency in the sky were also stunned for 5 minutes. Kaido was still sitting on the ground breathing heavily. Yi Yu was speechless. Just now he wanted to praise Kaido's amazing defense power, but now, it's not that amazing. In addition to the speed of scar formation, it has no other effect. Kaido, my time is up. What? 5 minutes is not enough. I don't have time to waste it here with you. Yi Yu said contemptuously. Call. Call. Kaido didn't answer, still breathing heavily. Just when Yi Yu slowly raised his hand, preparing to hit Kaido with another 100 swords, Kaido suddenly stood up and approached Yi Yu in an instant. Yi Yu, who had never seen anything before, was really shocked. Suddenly dark clouds rolled in the sky, and thunder and lightning appeared one after another. Kaido hit the mace in his hand. Kaido held the mace in his hand, and with the power of lightning on the weapon, he hit Yi Yu hard. No longer living up to his previous tired look, Kaido looked like a completely different person at this time, as if he had never been injured. Thunder. Cry. Ba. Gua. Kaido's face had veins popping up, and he shouted angrily at Yi Yu. The speed was extremely fast, as if a bolt of lightning appeared and arrived in front of Yi Yu in an instant. There was a loud bang. The entire Krigana island was shocked. The powerful aura, centered on Kaido, swept across all directions in an instant. Even as the sea roared, Urki swayed from side to side on the warship, with a look of astonishment in his eyes. Captain, the captain was tricked by this despicable guy Kaido. The thing I was most worried about has happened. Bastard Kaido. Urki clenched his fist hard. At this time, he only regretted that he was too weak and could not share the enemy's damage for Yi Yu. Members of the World Economic News Agency above the sky were also shocked. Brick narrowed his eyes and trembled at the corners of his mouth. I've heard a long time ago that Kaido is not as rough as he looks on the inside and is a despicable guy. Looking at it now, I'm afraid it's true. Brick, who works at the Economic News Agency, once heard Lord Morgan say that Kaido defeated Kazuki Oden by pretending to kidnap Oden's son to distract Oden, and then sneak attack Oden from behind. What a pity, Yi Yu, who is so talented, also lost to the despicable and evil Kaido. Bickley, a member of the World Economic News Agency, expressed regret. Yi Yu, what he has done on the sea for so many days has long been a household name. Now Yi Yu gives everyone the impression that he is the kind of genius who is comparable to rocks. This is the important reason for Bickley's regret. Wait, the intern at the World Economic News Agency picked up the telescope in his hand. It's not over yet, the battle is still going on, the intern said excitedly. Baikoli hurriedly took out the telescope again and pointed the lens at the battlefield. On the battlefield, Kaido's thundering 8 trigrams seemed to have hit something huge, unable to move forward at all, but fell within 10 centimeters of Yi Yu Conquerors. There was a slight look of astonishment. The next moment, Kaido took immediate measures. Kaido jumped directly into the air, his body began to transform into a half-animal state, spinning his mace. Conqueror's advanced method was released and Conqueror's was entangled in it. Lines of black material appeared around the mace, and even lines of black thunder appeared in the sky, which looked very strange. The barrier fruit is indeed difficult to deal with, but let's see if you can resist the attack in my dragon form. I prepared this just for you, kid. Did you know that there is still Conqueror's entangled attack method on this sea? This is a trick that only the real strong men on the sea can understand. Go to hell. Boy. Reign to the third life and leave Naraku. Kaido roared in midair. Holding the mace in his hand, mixed with all kinds of violent power, he aimed it at Yu in the air and smashed it down hard. Extremely fast, whoosh. A black phantom appeared, and the air around it was torn apart as it passed by, gradually becoming illusory. Boom! The dark phantom hit Yu Conqueror's barrier heavily, and black lightning shot out from the mace. Under the powerful force, Kaido's mace sank 2 decimeters into Yu's barrier. Kaido's hands with dragon scales kept shaking. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't move any further. Yu had a calm look on his face, but Kaido had a lot of sweat on his forehead, his face was dull, his eyes looked at Yu in shock, and his lips began to tremble. This is not a barrier fruit at all. The entanglement of conquerors that I mixed in can't penetrate it. Kaido said in shock. This was not a pure physical attack, but an attack with conqueror's entanglement. Even so, it still failed to break Yu's defense. This made Kaido change his previous view. Yu smiled slightly. Facing Kaido in front of him, he looked confused. Yu spoke slowly, with a smile on his face. Kaido, I never said that my defense method is the barrier fruit. It has always been your fantasy. But, I'm still very satisfied with your performance. Powerful resilience, thick and black tactics, conquerors' entangled attack methods. As for emperors, you are qualified. You please me, I'm very satisfied. It's my turn to attack next, be sure to resist. Yu said calmly to Kaido, like an adult commenting on a primary school student.